A great race. The bike worked great. It was definitely good. A good positive day. The bike finished, and yeah. Thanks to my whole team, the Kawasaki Rocky Mountain team, all my mechanics. Man, the good Lord for keeping us safe. Yeah, it was sketchy out there. We're pushing the limits today, but Sunoco fuels, ASV levers, safety on side, Achirby's, Pirelli tires, Shoei helmets, CD boots, MSR, Tusk, environmental golf, XC gear, Redline, all the other guys that do so much for our program, all of our team. There's so many guys behind the scenes, mechanics, drivers, everybody that's putting so much into it. My wife, my family, and everybody that supports it. Thank you.
Yeah, man, it was a blast. It's nice to finally get up there this year. It's been a struggle. I mean, I felt like I should have been right here in this spot and battling for wins the entire time. That round 2, obviously big buck, mudfest, coin flip there, but banged myself up in Florida, and it was a bummer because I was in great shape. I was riding really good. I was having a lot of fun, and yeah, man, my knees. Dr. Tanner worked on my knee, and surprisingly, I got it turned around really fast. I was way faster than last year, so I'm very thankful for that. But yeah, I felt good. I gambled on the tire. I ran a gummy, and man, it was so awesome in the rocky stuff and the shale rock, and it was so good, and I could catch it back up. But anywhere out in the open, the last 2.5 laps, I ripped all the knobs off, and I was just ice skating. So I'm really happy to be up here and be in the mix. And like I said, I feel like this is where I should have been the entirety of the series so far, but just haven't been able to showcase that, and it's a shame. But we're here, we're having a good time, and all the old guys did it.
This is your XC1 Pro podium from the Specialized all-grade GNCC. What a race, what a finish. Came down to the wire.
The 2026 Grand National Cross Country Racing Series, your AMA National Championship races into St. Clairsville, Ohio for Round 7, the Kenda Tires Powerline Park GNCC. Jordan Ashburn finds himself 16 points atop of the XC1 field, but your former points leader, Ben Kelly, tries to push through injury and see what he can do here at Round 7. How are things going to shake up? Could Stu Baylor steal a win here at Round 7? It's just about time to find out as we go racing live on Racer TV.
Are you ready to go GNCC Racing?
Look at that. That is a full XC1.
Is this a NASCAR race? I think if Johnny can maybe send it around the outside like he's trying to do there. Justo gets the overall win with an lap time of 3:10.04, edging out Stu Baylor by less than 3 seconds.
Racing dirt bikes, it's a lifestyle. It's something where every single choice you make sets you on the path to how you're going to succeed or perform. You live this every second of the day.
Stu hauling the mail.
Stu is one of the most gritty riders out there.
Johnny out front, Caleb pushing as hard as he can.
This is everything they have. That was a battle. That was a hell of a ride by both of those men.
Like he's got a cougar on the back of the bike.
Stu Baylor taking the inaugural Talladega GNCC win. Been doing a great job, extremely patient, extremely intelligent out there, even in the heat of battle, and it's paying off for him right now.
2 wins in a row for King Kelly. Overall leader, Grant Davis, as well as your physical leader out on the course.
Checkers are records, and Grant Davis comes out on top. Your overall winner on corrected time and physically.
3 hours is a long time. 3 hours of racing is gnarly.
I know I can show up, and I know I can win on any given week.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 7 of the 2026 Progressive Grand National Cross Country Racing Series. This is the Kenda Tires Powerline Park GNCC. Johnny, it is crazy to already think we are at the halfway point of the 2026 season. It seems like just yesterday we were hanging out in South Carolina out at Big Buck.
Man, you know, these first 6 races really have flown by. Here we are at round number 7. Things just heating up. We're heading into the northern swing. Obviously, we've got different track conditions, different dirt. A lot of these riders seem to perform differently. Some are the southern track specialists, the guys that really love the sand. Some of the guys love the rocks. We just came out of our rock swing in Kentucky and Tennessee. Well, now we're here to this slick Ohio clay, and it's definitely going to make things interesting.
Yeah, this is certainly going to be a big point, and much like we saw on the ATV side of things, a big shakeup as far as the points go. Some of our heavy hitters having some bad luck at round 6, so a lot of people are going to be a little bit more fired up coming in here to round number 7. But let's break down round 6 a little bit more. Both of our KTM boys in Grant Davis and your points lead coming into round 6, Ben Kelly, having their problems. Hopefully, both of them going to be okay. Hurt, a little banged up, going to be a little sore. But as far as I know, believe both of them going to try to line up with us here at round 7.
Yeah, that's the word. You know, again, we did cover those during the race last 2 weeks ago, talking about those 2 crashes. Ben Kelly, I believe, potentially some broken ribs. I haven't got the full update on Grant Davis's condition, but both of those riders were able to be ridden out of the woods. Ben, under his own power, Grant was able to ride out on the back of an ATV. We hope to see him out there today doing battle. But the big shakeup in the points, obviously, your points leader coming in, Ben Kelly, out with an injury. Jordan Ashburn getting absolutely fired up here mid-season, coming back-to-back wins at round 5 and round number 6 in his home state, just a few miles from his home. And what a performance it was from Jordan.
Yeah, you think about the question marks around Jordan Ashburn's program coming into the season, jumping over to that Phoenix Racing Honda crew. How well was he going to be able to adjust? What was the comfort level going to be like? And it was kind of quietly solid leading into these last 2 rounds, but then it was like, boom, whether the magic button, whatever click they made, it's been working for them. And like you said, what a statement and what a time during the season to be making that statement as well. Jordan, kind of one of those riders that flies under the radar. He's not always super flashy and not always somebody we're looking for right at round 1 to be a title favorite. But man, does he seem fired up, just like you said. And man, it came down to the wire between himself and Stu Baylor, the final few feet of racing, both of those guys leaving it all out on the track.
Well, it was a battle right down to the finish, and honestly, just a few seconds behind them, we had the battle over the 3rd place position between Caleb Russell and Craig DeLong, ultimately coming right down to the final corners, and it just shows how tight the racing is up front. Even on the last lap, those 4 riders literally separated at points by inches all the way around the track, and we hope to see more of that out here today.
Yeah, it was a fantastic finish for sure, but at the end of the day, it was the number 3 of Jordan Ashburn walking away with a 16-point points lead, and we were able to catch up with your new XC1 points leader, Jordan Ashburn.
Very difficult to do these days. I mean, everyone's really, really good right now, so to get a win was big in Kentucky, and then coming home, of course, I had some momentum coming to a home track, so was able to get another one there, and yeah, it feels really good. It's really cool to get 2 in a row. That's the first, definitely a first for me.
Well, there you have it, Johnny. I mean, it's hard to sound more content yet confident than that. We know Jordan's not going to give us any smack talk or anything like that. He takes the highs with the lows, but really just off of what we've seen in the Racer TV studios, this is a new level of confidence for the number 3.
Absolutely. I mean, coming in back-to-back wins. I could be wrong. I'm not the GNCC historian, but I think it may be the first time in his career that he's ever gone back-to-back with wins. Wow. So that's a little feather he can put in his cap, and also the cap of that Phoenix Racing Honda team as they head into action here today and continue through the rest of the season. But when you talk about championship battles, Liam Draper has been keeping himself in the thick of it. Maybe not the performance that he wanted at round number 6, but he's right there, only 16 points back in this championship, and he's very much in the fight, still looking for that first GNCC win. We had a chance to catch up with Liam, get his thoughts coming into the race today.
Definitely, closer spot than I was this time last year. Obviously, Tennessee was an average day for me. I've always struggled at that place. I don't know why, because I ride rocks a lot from where I'm from and PA, so it's weird to me that I always struggle there, but last year I think I was 16th, so it was a little bit better, but it was obviously not where I need to be, especially with Jordan winning and being the points leader, so a little bummed with that, but excited for Powerline. It's an hour from the house. I've raced some locals here, and I really enjoy this place.
Tell you about it. And we were talking about this off mic, Johnny. I think it's not a matter of if, but when, right? Liam's there. The bike is working good. The fitness is there. I mean, multiple times we've seen it come down to the final few miles of racing, just getting those last bit of pieces. And as the riders like to say, a little bit of lady luck involved as well. But Liam certainly been putting in the work, and it's showing in his performance round after round.
Well, we've got the hype all up to a fever pitch. We're ready to watch some racing action. But before we do that, let's get an opportunity to take a look at our track here today with our track boss, Jared Bolton, and our man, Jackson Burrell.
All right, thanks, guys. I'm Deed, standing by with our trail boss, Jared Bolton. Jared, we make our return back here to St. Clairsville, Ohio. What are we going to be looking at?
Oh, man, you know, it's a beautiful weekend, at least for now. You know, you don't know quite what's going to happen. There's some reports of maybe some weather, but you know what? It's actually so dry here. A little bit of rain would actually make this place a little bit better. And I know that sounds crazy saying that, because usually when you come to this place, mud is always a bit of a factor here. This place gets hard packed, slick, really, really, really difficult. And even when it's dry, it's still going to get hard packed. But a little bit on the faster side. Probably not quite as fast as what we had in Kentucky a few weeks ago, but definitely faster than what we saw in Tennessee at our last race. So that's going to kind of break things up for the guys that are good at that stuff, give them a little more of an advantage this week, and maybe tighten up in a couple of places for the guys that like that. But overall, this a little bit faster course, really flowy, a lot of fun in places, a lot of challenges in places, and of course, like I said, you get in that mud, it can be a challenge all in itself.
Well, they call St. Clairsville Paradise on the Hilltop. We'll see if it's going to be this weekend. Back up to you guys in the booth.
Well, there it is, Johnny. It's hard to ask. We've got the stage set, a beautiful location, a great weekend with great weather, and a great group of competitors we know are going to give 110% every time the flag drops. It's going to be a ton of fun. All that's left to do is go racing. We're going to grab a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll send things down to Jackie Legs, Jackson Burrell, standing by with the 10-second call. This is GNCC Racing live on Racer TV.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Roll into the line next. He will be aboard the 3-4-2 Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Factory Racing Back Ride from Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. Say hello to Craig DeLong. Roll into the line next. He will be aboard the number 8 Phoenix Racing Honda from North Carolina. How about an Ohio welcome here for Mike Wachowski? Roll into the line next. He will be aboard the 514 Rocky Mountain Red Bear Kawasaki from Donald, South Carolina. Say hello to Stu Baylor, as well as Levi on the front of that machine. Here we go. Roll into the line next. One of the veterans here in the class, aboard the number 7 Liqui-Moly Factory Beta Racing Back Ride. Now calling North Carolina home. Let's welcome Josh Strain. Roll into the line next. He will be aboard the number 2 FMF KTM Factory Racing Back Drive from Pennsylvania. We like to call him the Playboy. He came to play today. Welcome, Grant Davis. Roll into the line next, the most winning dirt bike GNCC rider of all time, aboard the 557 Ampro Yamaha from Boonville, North Carolina, Caleb Russell. Roll into the line next. He is aboard the 314 Rocky Mountain Red Bear Kawasaki from South Carolina, Grant Baylor. Roll into the line next. Aboard the 206 Rocky Mountain Red Bear Kawasaki from North Carolina, Josh Toth. And rolling to the line, last but certainly not least, aboard the 336 Morning Duck Racing, JDP Suspension and Moose Racing backed Honda machine from Mocksville, North Carolina, Ryder Lafferty. And there it is, my friends, there it is. Row number 1, your XC1 Open Pro class. And as the boys make their way down to row number 1, DJ Judd gonna hop out of the mobile entertainment activation trailer. He hops into the R-Max 1000. He's gonna throw that sparkle helmet on, and this is where we like to ask him, DJ Judd, remove the meat. And as DJ Judd makes his way off of the starting line, Ricky Towery makes his way into turn number 1. Keep your eyes on Ricky Towery. As Ricky goes, we will go. And as Griff Cotter is saying up there, guys, make sure you are behind the white stringer line, behind the white stringer line. And it looks like we are just about ready to roll. Thumbs up from Ricky Towery. He goes down through row number 1. He makes sure our riders are going to be ready to roll. When Ricky waves the blue flag, that's when the riders need to shut those machines down. When he sticks his left arm out, that will signify 10 seconds until we are off and rolling. Ricky takes a look down at his watch. And there it is. The blue flag waves, blue flag waves. Shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. As we are just about ready to roll now. Ohio, we have just one more question for you. Are you ready to go GNCC Racing? That was pretty good, but this is round number 7, the Kenda Powerline Park. This is where things get serious for the points championship. I'm gonna ask you one more time. Are you ready to go GNCC Racing? In 10 seconds for row number 1, your XC1 Open Pro. And there it is, the green flag flies. A good drive from the number 3 Honda machine, but it's not gonna be enough. The number 1 of Ben Kelly gonna sweep through. He grabs the whole shot and the early lead. And the boys go rocketing into the woods as now we turn our sights to row number 2. Your XC2 250 Pro class. Blue flag wave, shut them down, shut them down. And we are just about ready to roll. In. Ricky looks down at the clock. And there it is, 10 seconds for your XC2 250 Pro class. And the green flag flies for Angus Reardon, Jack Walker, Toby Cleveland, Jason Tino, Brody Johnson, Gavin Simon, and Jason Lipscomb. Who's it gonna be? Jack Walker and Jason Tino side by side across the stripe, and it'll be Jack Walker leading them into the woods. Here we go, row number 3, set to take the track in. 10 seconds for your 250A division. Lane Whitmer, Colton Shields, Michael DeLoza, Ryan Piper, Joshua Connor, Dylan McDonald, Robert Carpenter, Cooper Jones, Chase Landers, James Jenkins, Caleb Wood, Lane Smith, Owen Barnes, and Hunter Smith Here we go, next row, blue flag waves, row number 4, ready to roll in 10 seconds for your open A. Cole Whitmer, Isaiah Brown, Samuel Evans, Van Adams, Will Stephen Piper, Trevor Hoolan, Ruger Morgan, Logan Austrie, Dakota DeVore, and Kean Rupp. And it'll be Stephen Piper that gets the job done, the Georgia boy with a whole shot. Here we go, row number 5, headed into turn number 1 in 10 seconds for your 4-stroke A lights. Doc Smith, Brody Amos, Logan Pellegrini, Brady Beerbaum, Lennox Riley, Bryce Woodrum, Jack Wallen, Braden Baisley, Cooper Duff, Joseph Shulot, Ethan Harwell, Carlo Clary, Trevor Cole, Brian Amatio, Wyatt Beck, Colton Mogyak, Seth Bevington, Colton Barber, Kel Kurtman, Gage Garwick, Bodie Wallner, Braden Weimer, and Willie Tucker. Here we go, next row, ready to roll in 10 seconds for your 150A. Charlie Simpson, Colton McQuarrie, Gunnar Bowens, Gabriel Jimenez, Evan Moyer, Landon Barker, and Parker Savage. Let's see who it's going to be. Colton McQuarrie going to grab a whole shot in the early lead. Here we go, row number 6, blue flag wave. And here we go in 10 seconds for your junior A, 25 plus, Russell Smith, Deshaun Horton, Tyler Braniff, Eli Childers, Wyatt Ford, Sean Cochran, Brandon Gearing, Hayden Dillon, Brock Belso, Aaron Higgins, and Brayton Moyer. And the Kawasaki machine gonna get the job done. Here we go, next row, blue flag waves. Bet A 30 plus, ready to roll in 10 seconds. For Jonathan McMillan, Robbie Norwood, Michael Jarasco, Matthew Dreyer, Tyler Serrano, Zach Gaines, Anthony Burdick, Brian Smith, Dylan Davis, Barrett Evans, Matt Modick, Sammy Doris, and Andrew Boggs. And the 145 on the machine, gonna cross the strike first. Here we go, our next row, ready to roll in 10 seconds for your senior A 40 plus. Frank Messina, James Boyer, Michael Shanley, Kelly Swoop, Robert Esquivel, Danny Haffel, Tom Truxell, I should say, Travis Green, all headed into turn number 1 and headed out at the 504 machine of Travis Green. That gets the job done, an Ohio boy getting it done in the home state. Here we go, next row, headed into turn number 1 in 10 seconds for your 250B. Owen James, Isaac Leitner, Brandon Sletzer, Bailey Shadwell, Brandon Bailey, Levi Jones, Noah Morrill, Wyatt Johnson, Chad Rager, Kel Rickner, Renniker, Cole Lennox, Gearing, Matt Gray, Logan Grounds, Mason Zoyle, Jody Sprayed, and Spencer Knight. Here we go, our next row in 10 seconds for your open B. Luke Thurfield, Colton Zabluski, Austin Benninger, Grant Newell, Todd Applegarth, Carter Nielsen, Jace James, Jacob Connard, Luke Warner, Colton Painter, and Jacob Blakely. Four-stroke B lights coming up next, blue flag waves. And here we go in 10 seconds for Treston Walker, Brody Bolin, Maddox Moretz, Andrew Sanders, Tucker McCrary, Ryan Doling, Bryson Milligan, Alan Gein, Landon Long, Will Thurfield, Phillips Likens, Kai Norris, Owen Mock, Ryan Gorin, and Ryder Rick. Here we go, our next row, ready to roll in 10 seconds. Jake LePage, Jagger Eckstein, Wally McAlvey, Jaden Sullivan, 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 Jaden McEldowney, Zachary Johnson, Ashton Pellegrini, and Dylan Arroyo headed out in 150B. And Pellegrini had it, but not for long. 3 riders heading into turn number 2. Here we go, 10 seconds for Junior B, 25 plus. Austin Velasca, Tyler Rose, Zachary Agnella, Hunter Purdue, Tyler Daniel, Aaron Waldrop, Billy Siegel, Michael Hall, and Judson Boggs. Blue flag waves for our next row. Beppy 30 plus in 10 seconds for Zachary Floyd, Joseph Reimer, Stephen Hall, Bobby Shaw, Matthew Zazine, Dylan Douglas, Jason Foltz, Leroy Petrie Jr., Matthew Hall, Matt Kirsch, Matthew Johnson, Dustin Stanley, Joshua Clens, Michael Spencer, and Joseph Evans. One rider late to the line, it'll give him time to head out. And we'll be ready to roll with our final row, our Senior B 40 plus, taken to the trail in 10 seconds for Larry Hopper, Kenton Shazzer, Bennett Phipps, Max Oschenko, Kevin Jones, Philip Solin, Trevor Grant, Jason Corbin, Jeremy Nance, Chad Murphy, Joey Nachi, and Bob Raver. Who's it gonna be? The 590 on the helmet. That is Jeremy Nance, the Ohio boy, getting it done in his home state. And it looks like the starting line gonna be clean and clear. And with that, we're gonna take it to a break, and we'll be right back with more action on Racer TV.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? I don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a man. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to beautiful St. Clairsville, Ohio for round number 7 of the 2026 Progressive Grand National Cross Country Racing Series. This is the Kenda Tires Powerline Park GNCC. You see some of those power lines on your screen right now. Beautiful day once again here in Ohio. Zach Herron joined by Johnny Gallagher, Johnny G, Eagle Eye himself, and Jackson Burr will be in the truck with us once again momentarily. Johnny, round 7, we talked about it in the openers. The halfway point or so of the season. This is a big moment for people that want to start that championship drive, right? We've been talking about the last-ditch efforts to get into the fight, and then now we're starting to get some favorites established in our classes as well.
Absolutely, Zach. You know, we're at that point, 1.5 hours, give or take, into this race. We will officially be at the halfway point of the season. Crazy how fast the first part of the season has gone by. Seems like just yesterday we were saying, the season's just getting started. We'll establish our front runners as we go. Now we're at a point where, as you pointed out, a lot of riders starting to distance themselves, establish themselves as championship contenders, and how you start that off is getting yourself a good start, getting up in the mix early, and I believe we're ready with our specialized start recap.
Well, you said it, Johnny. The start, absolutely key with a field this deep in both our XC1 and XC2 classes, but it was the number 3 of Jordan Ashburn, now 16 points out front. See kind of in the middle of your screen, Mike Wachowski and Grant Davis getting really racy right off the jump. But Ben Kelly, welcome back. Want to talk about putting in a valiant effort. Try to make it as easy as possible by getting a good start and running away. Jordan Ashburn and Stu Baylor. We know they had some close racing at our last round, sit 2 and 3 with, I believe, Liam Draper just behind them. XC2 Pro-Am, not the jump for Gavin Simon he was hoping for, but Jack Walker runs it up the inside. Him and Jason Tino were pretty much wheel to wheel along with Gus Reardon, but I do believe Walker is the first across the stripe. Tino going to hold on to that number 2 spot, Gus Reardon, and looks like that's Brody Johnson just behind him, and looks like Cleveland, and how about it, Simon making some moves up the inside as well, trying to pick up a couple of quick spots before they dive into the woods there on lap number 1. So we jump here to our Yamaha Racing live drone. Johnny, take a look at our Yamaha track map. We talked about this some yesterday, a variety of what we've got out here at Ohio. You said it, sometimes you get a little bit of different kinds of weather in 24 hours, different kinds of conditions here in just a couple of short miles as well.
Well, the first thing we'll say here, Zach, is welcome to Ohio.
Absolutely.
The dirt is different. The terrain is different. We've had some quite a variety of weather yesterday with the rain. We were expecting potentially some rain today. But what we've got, in my opinion, is an excellent racetrack for these guys here today. Now, make no mistake, this clay is slick. We're told they're at about the 5-mile marker now. We're waiting and watching here at the 6-mile marker. And we're going to see a lot of what appear to be just little miscues from these riders today in certain sections of this racetrack. Yesterday, we had our ATV guys kind of weigh in. And look at this, Ben Kelly still up front leading the way. And referencing your point earlier, Zach, Ben coming into today injured. He crashed out of our last round 2 weeks ago, but what better way to get out front, be able to control that pace than grab that whole shot. You can see the top 3 still running in order, but it looks like, yep, Liam Draper there in the number 3 spot. See Ryder Lafferty there. Some other riders coming through. There's Josh Strang. There is Grant Davis. There is Caleb Russell. And there is Grant Baylor. So that is just about the entirety of your XC1 field now with the 206 of Josh Toth working his way through here at the 6-mile marker. Fresh off a win at the J-Day last weekend that you and I got to announce there over at Lake Sugar Tree MX. But 2 different courses here. Half of this track, at least according to the ATV guys, and it's kind of how it's always raced in the past, half of it kind of looks slick, but actually has pretty good grip. The other half of it, ironically, looks like it has good grip, but it's really slick. So you can't trust your eyes on this racetrack. You really got to go with the feel of if you're feeling connected to the ground, hammer down. Look at this, a pass for the number 2 spot. Gus Reardon has gotten around Jason Tino. So our winner of our last 2 rounds, Jason Tino in the number 3 spot, and then Toby Cleveland in the number 4 spot in that XC2 class. And you can see the difference in lines here. Some of the riders choosing to kind of stick to those insides, run the main line, if you will, from yesterday's ATV race. Brody Johnson there, kind of around the outside, running in the fluff, looking for some grip. There's Jay Lipscomb as well on the 707 machine. And there's Gavin Simon. Made those big moves and blew a couple of riders out of the way. Didn't look intentional to me. It looked like he got a little hop coming into the corner, but I'm sure that'll maybe be discussed after the race, but looks like he has dropped back a bit. And now back to our leaders. Ben Kelly still out front. Jordan Ashburn in the number 2 spot. Stu Baylor looking pretty relaxed there in the number 3 spot, Zach.
Well, and this is something we saw just a few short weeks ago. It seemed like Jordan Ashburn and Stu Baylor kind of hanging out, pacing off of each other, seeing who wants to push and who needs to push. Meanwhile, Ben Kelly up front, just like you said, Johnny, the level of the injury, relatively unknown. I haven't gotten a chance to catch up with him. I was just glad to see him out and about in the pits, but looking at him right now, clearly not holding him back to the point to where he's not able to maintain a race pace. We're several miles into this, and he seems like for the moment he's able to withstand what it takes to control this race. We'll see if he's able to go the full 3 hours with it.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to speak with Ben after the race. Actually, it was on Monday. Won't go into all the details. That's for him to share or not. But right away, his mindset was, hey, I was in the points lead up until today. I'm only 16 points out of this thing. And, I'm going to go out there, give it my best, and try to earn some points here coming up in 2 weeks. So I don't believe there was any, at least in his mind, any question. He did have a big crash in Tennessee, but was able to ride himself back to the semi under his own power. But make no mistake, he is very banged up.
Well, and make no mistake as well, if Ben Kelly says he's banged up, he is banged up. There's no question about it. This guy is tough as nails, as is all of our top riders. And so just glad to have Ben out there with us. Meanwhile, another solid start from Craig DeLong up inside that top 5. Looked like about 4th or so headed into the woods, maybe in that 5th spot actually behind Draper, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So we'll see if Craig can make a couple of quick passes, get up into this fight as well while everyone's still relatively bunched up.
Yep, these guys running pretty much in formation at this point in the race, kind of just figuring out the grip, figuring out the flow of the racetrack. Obviously, this particular section is a bike-only section, so the first time this has been run was in this morning's 10 a.m. race. So it's a little bit not quite as rough yet, but some of the other sections of this racetrack are, man, they're already getting very chewed out.
Taking a look on screen, there's Braden Baisley making his way through on the 154 Blue Crew ride.
212 machine coming through here. Looks like those riders are out of that 4-stroke A lights class.
And even in these classes, I mean, yeah, someone like a Braden Baisley, I remember announcing him for, some of our top youth rides. I believe it was Cooper Duff that just went by as well. And you see their line choices compared to those top pro riders where they're setting the corner up, swinging wide. It's the little details as far as looking ahead, setting up ahead that separate that top level of the sport from even the next generation.
Yeah, and kind of defining what you're looking at there. On the inside, you can see it's kind of packed in. It's very slick. This clay here doesn't have a lot of grip in it. And when you get on the brakes, it kind of, you see how the bike dances around under braking there? When you come out to this fluff, it allows you just to control your deceleration a little bit better and carry more speed through that corner. Not saying it's a better line, but it's maybe a little bit less risky, especially early on when you're trying to find that grip, figure out the track, and race experience for those XC1 guys obviously is as high as it gets.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird balance. You talk about those opening laps. You want to run a good pace. You want to try to get away from everybody, but you also got to have a little bit of caution as well. How are things actually going to be? Obviously, these riders not able to practice on the course, pretty much ride the e-bikes up until the final hour or so and then get dressed. And then it's a mix of going wide open while also kind of waiting to let the race come to you and feel out what this course is willing to give you.
Yeah, most of these riders have gone out and inspected the course, some of them even on Friday, again on Saturday, and potentially even this morning during that morning's 10 a.m. race. But they know what they're facing, but riding it, looking at it, walking it, I mean, you can scrub the ground with your foot or ride it on an e-bike all you want. Once you start carrying speed, figuring out where the grip's at, where the fast lines are, one of the things that always baffles me is when you go out and you're kind of searching for lines and you're on a bicycle or you're walking, a line that can look great, it just doesn't line up at speed on the racetrack. Yep. Sometimes you're carrying so much speed coming up, you have to check up way more than expected. So it is one of those things you learn over time, and some of our top riders are absolutely elite at being able to do that. Checking out the course, knowing what lines are going to work and what aren't. Obviously, we've seen that with our, whether it be Stu Baylor, Bryson Neal, the master of it on Saturdays.
Yesterday, Wyatt even said in his post-race interview, didn't think anybody was going to go up the wall and over right there where Neal made the pass. So just goes to show, yeah, these riders pretty creative as far as what they're able to spot looking at the course and then actually able to execute it there when it matters.
I think the feedback from yesterday, at least from the ATV set, was that there was a little more passing on this track. Just kind of the track left a little bit more open, left to really define itself kind of with those 25-foot guardrails that we have per the rules. A little less white string this weekend, kind of leaving it to more open racing. So I think we might see a little bit more passing than what we've seen in recent races. But not that we haven't seen passing. We've definitely seen some battles.
So taking a look at with Stu Baylor, who grabbed the win here last year in 2025. We know Stu is fired up here at round number 7. And it was Jordan Ashburn in that number 2 spot. Ashburn, once again, just stacking blocks and finds himself atop of the podium now multiple times throughout this season. And he's one of those quiet, confident guys where he's not going to say anything. You're not going to hear any smack talk, any real change in demeanor. But Jordan is kind of taking note of where he's at, and I think the more he believes he's capable of doing it, it seems like the Phoenix Honda team still getting things ironed out, really efficient over these last few rounds as well. They could be going on a tear.
Well, you talk about Jordan Ashburn stacking blocks. At this point, I don't know if 2 counts as stacking, but he's kind of stacking wins, 2 in a row. I actually had the opportunity on Friday to speak with Jordan and ask. I was pretty sure it was. I had mentioned it, referenced it in the last race, but it is, in fact, the first time he has ever won back-to-back races here in GNCC. And the comment he made to me, he said, to be able to get 2 wins back-to-back is big for me in my mindset. He said a lot of times it's been challenging even to get a win in a season, let alone 2 wins in a season. The last several years, he said, so for me to be able to get 2 in a row and grab that points lead, he said, I just feel like I'm really running on all cylinders right now. The machine is great. I'm ready to go this weekend. So confidence is key, and he has a truckload of it right now.
Yeah, love to hear that. The entire team looking fantastic. As the number 3 looks good with those reverse plates.
We're here at the 6-mile marker watching now some of our B classes coming through. You can see by the yellow number plates with black numbers, those are B riders working their way through some of our 4-stroke B lights, open B, vet B, all of our age classes. So these riders out there doing battle throughout the entirety of this 3-hour race within their respective classes. And if things go according to how we expect to see them, we might see some of these riders later on in the mix, but they may be moving we won't say obstacles, but challenges for our top pro riders. And that is one of the cool things about GNCC racing is these guys are out there doing battle in their own class, but they're also in the mix with the elite XC1 riders and XC2 riders that are out there battling for overall wins.
Well, and I was going to say, Johnny, these are fast riders. Don't get it confused. These are, top contenders at your local races. But when we say it's the best of the best here at GNCC, these are some of the best riders in the world, if not the best off-road racers in the world. So, yeah, it's so fun to be able to see some of these sections, watch a little bit further back in the pack, knowing and respecting how skilled those riders are, and it's just night and day different than what you see our top XC1 riders doing.
Absolutely. And when these riders do, like you said, go back to their home series, a lot of times we see B riders and definitely A riders that are winning overalls in large regional series. We're not talking about backyard races with 40, 50 people. These A riders, a lot of times in places like New York, Florida, these guys go back there and they're winning overalls, beating their local pro riders. But here at this level, just because there's so much competition, they're very competitive in the A classes, but they're still working their way up through the ranks.
Yep.
Looks like the number 181 coming through there. Some of these riders will give them some love here. See if we see anybody we recognize. 427, that looks like a YZ252 stroke. So he's out there pinging it.
Blue crewing it.
Blue crewing it. See some of these guys just incognito, no numbers here. See the difference in speed from when we saw our XC1 riders come through. Obviously, we know, again, these riders, excellent riders in their own right, but those XC1 and XC2 guys at the top of the field, the speed that they can carry through these sections, just like this here. And looks like we may have, unless we missed our leader, looks like we may have missed our leader. Okay, so now we're back here. There we see Grant Davis. There we see Josh Strang. There we see Caleb Russell. Grant Baylor still hanging in there as well. And here is Josh Toth. Looks like he's made up a little bit of time.
Yeah, Toth has definitely made a gap up.
He had, seeming like he was riding tight there early on, but look at this. Jack Walker, talk about the speed of that XC2 class early, pushed by Gus Reardon. Those two starting to distance themselves from Jason Tino and the rest of that XC2 field. I think they're going to be right in the mix there for that overall. Zach, we sound like a broken record here. It seems like every time we go live, we say, hey, guys, keep an eye on those XC2 guys because they are going to be jumping up the overall charts when they do check in here, and I expect that we are in that position again here today.
Yeah, and even more so, it seems like that XC2, Walker, and then I'll throw Reardon into that mix as well. Reardon, more so for the last few years, has been a sprint, get up early, and then kind of maintain, whereas Tino, very similar to his teammate Ben Kelly in the diesel style. I feel like Tino builds as the race goes on, so probably no panic right now for the KTM and Jason Tino. Gus Reardon getting around him. Walker up in front, but it seemed like the race kind of came to Jack later in the in those 3 hours. So we'll see, but no doubt, Johnny, definitely up in the mix for this overall as we catch your top XC1 riders on the Yamaha Racing Live Drone.
And there is the top 5 still in the same running order. It looks like Ben Kelly doing a great job of managing the pace from the front, grabbing that XC1 hole shot, coming into today after, not to be dramatic, but a bit of a rough weekend 2 weeks ago, scoring no points for the overall championship. And he had been running inside the top 5 and solidly inside the top 10 throughout the entirety of the day. Unfortunately, it was an all said and done. A big crash, contact, I believe, with the tree, and was very banged up, unable to continue, costing him 30 points, potentially 30 points, scoring no points. So back to the front. Ben Kelly still out front on that FMF Red Bull KTM and looking pretty smooth. Jordan Ashburn there in the number 2 spot. Stu Baylor sitting in 3rd. Liam Draper on that Ampro Yamaha 4th. Then it is Craig DeLong 5th. And look at this. This group is caught up. And no surprise, Mike Wachowski under heavy pressure from the number 2 of Grant Davis, another rider who crashed out of our last race. Then it looks like Ryder Lafferty, Josh Strang, Caleb Russell, and Grant Baylor over here on the Powerline section of this Kenda Powerline GNCC.
Yeah, we saw Wachowski and Davis getting a little comfortable with each other there off of the start. So best believe not going to be any love lost, at least here early in this one. They may forget quick, but I don't know about this quick.
Yeah, that kind of emotions run high on the racetrack. A lot of times after the race, it's a few words shared and then ultimately a handshake. And it kind of, oh, look at this. I believe that was a pass for the number 2 spot. Looked like Stu Baylor had a line picked out there, and he did.
Yep.
Made the move around the number 3 of Ashburn. And these two are picking up right where they left off from 2 weeks ago in Tennessee, now battling in the number 2 and 3 spots.
Yeah, it came down to the final few miles, final few feet of racing between Ashburn and Baylor, and Baylor now trying to set his sights on Ben Kelly. Like we said in our openers, Johnny, this guy kind of in a position to play spoiler now. Points somewhat out of it, but a point to be proven still for Stu Baylor.
Absolutely. He is a dangerous man when he doesn't have to think about points. We talked about it in our openers. There's Josh Toth. Look at that. Jack Walker is now to the rear wheels of Josh Toth, and right in tow, Gus Reardon in that number 2 spot in XC2. So those two pretty confidently going to be well inside the top 3 or 5 overall, if not leading the way on corrected time. I think they're going to be leading, but we still have a couple miles to sort that out.
Yeah, Walker reminded me a lot of Grant Davis last year of that XC2 class. His ability to close that gap early just seems like he hangs it out a bit more in the opening miles. There goes Jason Tino, still in the number 3 spot, still not too far back, as I believe this is Brody Johnson making his way through, and Toby Cleveland on the charge as well.
You made the comment about Jason Tino kind of being the diesel and getting going as things kind of sort themselves out later in the race. But let's jump back to this battle at the front, because Stu Baylor has made the move on Jordan Ashburn, and now he drives it up the inside and right around Ben Kelly. Stu Baylor getting aggressive, making moves, and straight to the front of the field from 3rd to 1st here in a matter of about a half a mile of racetrack.
Man, great shot there from the Yamaha Racing Live drone as we were able to capture the slingshot of Stu Baylor. Just sent it. Saw a little bit of hesitation there from Ben. Really wanted to make sure he knew exactly where he was putting that KTM. Stu gonna send it into the number 1 ride now.
Now it looks like Liam Draper starting to close up a little bit on the number 3 of Ashburn. Ashburn kind of riding in the dust cloud there of Kelly. Definitely does not have clear vision. Kelly trying to sink his hooks into Stu Baylor, but the man on the charge right now is the 514 of Stu Baylor on that Red Bear Rocky Mountain ATV MC Kawasaki, fresh off a 2nd place finish that he was not too happy about 2 weeks ago. Right to the point position and looking to try to run away with this one by the pace he's running. He wants to try to break these guys early is my guess.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Johnny. A point to prove for Stu Baylor, and no better way to make it in bold than to run away with this one early. We welcome Jackson Burrow back here into the truck. Jackie Legs.
Hey, guys.
Stu Baylor getting a good start, as did Ben Kelly. We know Ben not at 100% in this one, so a start going to help him tremendously. But Stu, the freight train, moving his way forward and now trying to create some distance.
He sure is bulldogging his way up to the front, as Stu Baylor is known to do. And Jordan Ashburn, he's right there, guys. We talk about Stu Baylor with a point to prove wanting to stamp it. I'm sure Jordan Ashburn feels the same way. A guy like Jordan Ashburn, I'm sure he's not happy with the comments that were made, so I'm sure he has a point to prove here today as well.
Absolutely. A lot of lot of extra hype coming into the race this weekend. Jordan Ashburn on the strength of back-to-back wins. Stu Baylor vocally disapproving of some things at the end of our round 2 weeks ago in Tennessee. Ben Kelly in the points lead, crashing out. Grant Davis, a rider who expected to be in the championship mix, crashing out. So it was a lot of things happening in Tennessee that kind of carry that momentum and that drama into today. So just extra storylines. Craig DeLong there just behind. And then comes, Craig has actually gotten around Jordan Ashburn. There is Strang. Looks like Russell got around Strang. And looks like, look at that, Jack Walker. Wow, Mike Wachowski dropped way back. I'm not sure what happened there, but he lost several spots. But Jack Walker and also Gus Reardon have now already started passing XC1 riders and are almost within sight of the leaders here not early on, but early on in the race in lap number 1.
No doubt following along here with Ben Kelly as he makes his way now into the pro pits. Going to grab a water bottle and headed through.
So it is Draper up to the number 3 spot. Jordan Ashburn shuffled back there. Stu Baylor, Wheelie Boys action. You can tell he is feeling it out there right now. But Ben Kelly doing all that he can do to try to match the pace of the 5:14. There is Draper in the number 3 spot. Craig DeLong in 4th. Jordan Ashburn 5th. Caleb Russell making some moves now up to the number 6 spot. He's gotten around Lafferty, gotten around Strang, and starting to put some pressure on Ashburn. Ryder Lafferty riding well. Grant Baylor stirring as well. Here comes Mike Wachowski. We saw him shuffled back, and here they come. The XC2 lead duo. Jack Walker leading the way, but Gus Reardon is going along for the ride.
How about Caleb Russell there showing a will to our points leader, Jordan Ashburn?
Well, and that's what I was hoping to see, a little bit of momentum now in the sails of Caleb Russell, grabbing that podium. Now what's he able to do with it? Making some quick passes. Still very early in this race. Glad to see some steam building for KR.
Looks like he has that Ampro Yamaha machine dialed in. Must have had the knees drained and dialed in because he's charging for it right now, boys.
Yeah, last off the line was not very good start for Caleb Russell, was standing there watching, but he is moving here early around the outside, trying to square up Jordan Ashburn, but Ashburn able to hold him off here on that Phoenix Racing Honda. These two are battling for position, but the riders in front of them starting to stretch it up a little bit. Got to wonder what happened with Ashburn because he looked real racy there, and now he seems to be, could just be tightening up, but seeming to kind of slowly work his way backwards through this last section of racetrack. But still plenty of time for him to regroup, keep himself in this fight for the win here today.
Yeah, kind of same thing for Wachowski. He was really fired up early on and then dropped back significantly as well.
Yeah, Wachowski was a big drop back kind of all at once, though, so you almost have to think a missed line or a crash or something like that, where with Jordan, it looks like it's just been riders kind of passing him from looking at our shots here, so don't know if maybe something awry with him or the machine, or again, a lot of times early on, if you're pushing the pace, you're not properly warmed up, or you're just not comfortable, you can tighten up very quickly, but not tightening up at all is Stu Baylor. He is on rails right now out here at the start of lap number 2, or getting ready to start lap number 2, and looking strong here today with a point to prove.
And speaking of lap number 2, here we go. Stu Baylor going to check in to make it one lap in the books. So it's Baylor. Now Kelly making his way through, and Liam Draper to round out the top 3.
There is DeLong in the number 4 spot. Just behind him, Ashburn still hanging on to 5th. Caleb Russell in 6th. Should be Josh Strang in 7th. Then it is Ryder Lafferty, Grant Baylor, Mike Wachowski, and Gus Reardon has gotten around Jack Walker. We have a new leader in XC2.
Wow. So how about it, the final stretch before the finish, and Reardon makes a move.
It's crazy how fast these XC2 guys have gotten up here. And I'll go ahead and refresh live timing and scoring, but I can tell you, yeah, top 2 overall. Gus Reardon leading the way in that XC2 class with a lap time of 33:50. Wow, he was, so that'd be 30 plus another 10. He was 39 seconds faster on that first lap than Stu Baylor, who's leading XC1. 39 seconds.
Wow. Yeah,
wow.
Take a look at your progressive last lap times.
Guys,
Angus Reardon, a 33:50 and then 33:53 for Walker. No one else even close.
Yeah, so the top 5 overall are XC2 riders. So we only see our top 2 on screen. The other guys, even though they're 30 seconds or more behind, are still the top 5 overall. Pretty crazy as things run here.
This could be one of those days where we see XC2 on top, as we used to with Grant Davis and Angus Reardon and the rest of the crew. We expect Angus to be up in that top spot. Glad to see that he's finally there. I know I got to catch up with Angus's mom just a little bit. She's actually over from Australia right now. I believe she's going to be here this weekend. And one cool thing that I got to mention from her, Johnny, she was telling me that they woke up, I believe it was 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning on Monday mornings to watch Angus Reardon. I'm sure he has to be fired up to have mom and the crew here.
Absolutely. That's a cool thing about Racer TV. If you're watching from home, maybe you're only an hour or two here from Powerline, but you should come out and watch with us because it's great conditions, a great day of weather. But maybe you're more like, 13, 14,000 miles away over in Australia. And I don't know if that's an accurate estimate, but way on the other side of the globe. And those guys tuned in, guys and gals. Cool for us to be able to bring the racing action right to living rooms, even if it is 3 o'clock in the morning there. But hey, get up early for work on a Monday morning, catch some GNCC action, sip a cup of coffee, and watch it. Gus Reardon out here doing battle, leading the way in the overall. Wanted to point out, with Reardon leading the way and Walker in the number 2 spot, just 2.7 seconds behind. We talked about Jason Tino being the diesel and getting going, obviously winning our last 2 races. 26.8 seconds behind on lap number 1. That is a pretty substantial gap. Not completely insurmountable, but definitely something to consider. If you're the pit crew for Jason Tino, you're going to be letting him know, hey, we need to get going. And getting going is Liam Draper, now pushing on the back of Ben Kelly with Craig DeLong in tow. And those are your top 4 in the running order as they run on track. Again, we see the shakeup of things in the overall on time correction. Jordan Ashburn in that number 5 spot, Caleb Russell in 6, Josh Strang on the number 7 and 7th. Then it's Lafferty, Witkowski, and there is Gus Reardon, your overall leader and leader in that XC2 class with Jack Walker along for the ride.
Able to put him just a bike length or 2 behind as now we jump up here to the lead group. What is our 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place riders? Looking like a motocross race in that last shot, doubling their way across the road. How about it? Reardon, Walker, Tino, Johnson, and Cleveland, your top 5 riders. If you look at the left-hand side on that pylon on your screen, the green stands for our XC2 class, the red, of course, our XC1, and then you see those gray numbers there of Jakes Fustini and Jones. Those are going to be our A-class amateur riders.
Yeah, Jakes Fustini in that 16 spot, Cooper Jones in 19, and Jay Lipscomb rounding out your top 20 out of that XC2 class. But to your point right now, we were watching, Liam Draper was on the charge, kind of ping-ponging back and forth between offense and defense as he was trying to take down Ben Kelly. And then all of a sudden, Craig DeLong starts to go on the attack.
Jakes Fustini, he had a big weekend just a week ago at some of the J-Day races. Yeah. I know you guys were there announcing it. I got to see it online, and I saw a lot of Jakes Fustini, man. He put on quite the show.
Yeah, he had our jaws on the floor there for at least a couple moments. I know the video's gotten pretty popular, but impressive. And that's what we talk about, is it's really cool to see the next level of GNCC racing coming up. Obviously, at the podiums, we do our top amateurs time and time again, and it is so impressive to listen to those battles, and it's different faces almost every time as well, especially in those final few spots on the podium. And it just goes to show the next group of riders coming up into these XC2 classes as well are going to be just as fun to watch.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it whatsoever. Following along here on our live drone as Yamaha Racing live drone, keeping up with the Yamaha, the Ampro Yamaha machine of Liam Draper as he tries to mount a pass against Ben Kelly around the outside, and he will be able to make it stick.
Man, Jackson, I'm telling you what, just not seeing the level of fight out of Ben Kelly that I would think, he's got to be gritting this out right now. We knew he was in some pain, heard maybe the abdomen, the ribs bothering him, and that is, if you've ever experienced it, that is not fun, just standing around, sitting around, let alone your heart rate being at 180 plus beats per minute, getting thrown all around this Powerline course.
And yeah, a multi-time champion like Ben Kelly, he knows just what he has ahead of him. We're only 40 minutes into this race, so well over 2 more hours of racing to go. I'm sure that has to be on Kelly's mind.
So Draper gets around. Now Kelly under fire from Craig DeLong.
Going to be interested to see what tire we have for Liam Draper after what was that dramatic tire getting wore out just a few races ago in Kentucky. He wasn't the only one, though, Johnny. I actually got to take one of the tires home with me that was threw away. I believe that was Grant Baylor's, looking just like Liam Draper. So we'll see what the boys do here today. As Draper, he looks like he's getting some traction right now.
Yep, that was a cool line there from Stu Baylor, and looks like Ben Kelly and also Craig DeLong catching onto that in number 3 and 4 spots. So he jumped up to the inside, found some grass there for some grip, hard on the throttle. Ben Kelly, we see him kind of checking up, but keep in mind, we've talked about it before, folks, from our Yamaha Racing Live Drone Clear Vision. When you're down there at ground level, that dust gets very thick, very quick. Back to the 3-mile marker here, and now it is Stu Baylor on screen, starting to open up a bit of a gap over Liam Draper. Looked like Draper was closer in that last shot, so maybe a little mistake from him there, but the yo-yo effect is in play. Kelly in the number 3 spot, DeLong in 4th, and now back to, the time that Ashburn and Russell and the rest are losing is, looks like now Caleb Russell has gotten around Jordan Ashburn, fighting with him for quite a bit of time now, straying around Ashburn, Witkowski around Ashburn, something amiss with Jordan Ashburn. He, don't know if he's tightened up, but he is going backwards in a hurry.
Well, there he is making his way through now, so going to lose a few spots, but nonetheless still going to be battling it out on the track. The XC2 boys, they already make their way through now ahead of Davis and Toth. So
surprised to see Grant Davis so far back there. He was looking racy up in the mix. Something has set him back behind several of the XC2 riders now as well. He's back with Josh Toth, actually sitting there. If you look at the lifetime in scoring, showing an 18th overall, so we must have missed that when they were coming through. There is your 3rd place rider in XC2. That is Jason Tino on a charge to try to catch Gus Reardon and Jack Walker, and Brody Johnson just behind him, and Toby Cleveland as well giving chase.
So Tino Johnson and Cleveland all in a small little caravan there at the backside of the top 5. Right now, showing Grant Davis 18th overall when they came through timing and scoring.
Able to talk to his mom just before we got started here. She said he was feeling good, feeling healthy, so we'll see if he's able to make some ground up.
Yeah, another rider we know, leaves 110% out on the course, and sometimes it gets the best of him. So going down and ultimately having to take a ride out seemed to be okay. I saw him walking out and around earlier this weekend. Said he was still a little sore, got checked out by Doc Tanner here, safety on site, and if nothing else, just glad to have him on the start line.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And to be completely honest, these guys, like a lot of sports, they won't hardly tell you when something is going on, so you never really know what truly is going on most of the time.
Jay Lipscomb there on screen, one of our XC2 riders, local product nearby here in Ohio. I think he actually lives in West Virginia, but right there near Thad Duvall from that Williamtown, West Virginia area. I don't know if we've gotten an update on Thad Duvall, not out there racing. I know he didn't race the last round either for that Racecraft Racing Husqvarna team.
I have not. I did get to talk to Jacoby up on the podium a little bit earlier, but however, not that, as we see Caleb Wood making his way through. What you see, Tony?
Yeah, it looked like that might have been Cooper Jones, as we see him sitting 19th place in the overall. They're out of that 250A class, the first of the A-rows. And then Jake Svestini, they're in 16th place overall. Started on the amateur row number 3. So he's already come through on corrected time, all of the A classes, and he's eclipsed the time of Cooper Jones, who at least at the completion of lap number 1 was leading the way in that 250A class. Back to the battle at the front. There is Draper in 2nd. There is Kelly still hanging out in the number 3 spot. Look at that line from Craig DeLong there, kind of getting out in the grass. That's a little risky. That grass is probably taller than you think, but I'm sure he walked that, checked it out, and well within that 25 feet of the marked course. Perfectly legal line, allowing these guys to get creative and hopefully open up some passing opportunities. And Stu Baylor on screen leading the way.
Here we go. Liam Draper now making his way through. And the whole crew, Kelly and DeLong, still battling it out. DeLong trying everything he can to mount up a charge.
That is your top 4 here through at the 3-mile marker. Then it is the 557 of Russell. Big kick over that log for all these guys. So it looks like they've got an inside line there, hopping over a log or something. I'm assuming a log. Maybe it's just a tree root. Strang, Witkowski. Ashburn looking like he's rebounded a little bit. There's Reardon and Walker. That is 1 and 2 in XC2. Lafferty and Grant Baylor. Jason Tino, he's made up some time.
Was that Tino?
Yeah, that was not 20.
That was Davis, wasn't it?
Oh, you're right. I just happened to, so it's actually a stump. There we go. We were wondering what was giving those riders a kick with our imaginary teleprompter. We'll draw a circle around it. That That is, you know, there is Jason Tino. Good eagle eye, man. 48. The eyes just aren't what they used to be. To be fair, I was looking down and I glanced up. Toby Cleveland hopping over that stump. Look at Toby right through the mud there. Those other riders kind of staying on the high line. Toby Cleveland says, quickest way to get from point A to point B is a straight line, and if that's through a mud hole, that's where I'm a-going.
So since they checked in, looks like Cleveland around Johnson, unless I've missed something here.
I didn't catch Brody Johnson there.
I didn't either. So possibly Cleveland now up into that 4th place spot, which would also allow him to inherit the 4th place overall the way that they're running.
Look at all that green at the top of our running order here. I mean, it's not new. It's just always not surprising, just always eye-opening. Those, I don't even want to say kids, those riders from that XC2 class, just such a serious intensity right from the drop of the green flag.
I think it's only a matter of time till Reardon gets his new Honda machine figured out on that Phoenix Honda machine, and I expect Reardon to continue to battle it out up at the front of the field.
Here's the battle for 3rd on screen. Ben Kelly has it, and Craig DeLong wants it, sitting in that number 4 spot. But look at this. Caleb Russell's made up some serious ground through that section of racetrack. On the charge, trying to get himself up in the fight for a podium position here. Just behind him should be the 7 of Josh Strang, and it's the 8 of Mike Witkowski, teammate of the next rider coming through, the number 3 reverse plate, our points leader, Jordan Ashburn, sitting back near the tail end of the top 10. Actually, with the XC2 riders, he will be outside the top 10 in the running order if you look at the riders that have passed him, if things stay the way they are. So that would be a big opportunity for some of these riders to try to make up some points. Maybe Liam Draper, who sits, I believe, in that number 2 spot, just 16 points behind.
Yeah, realistically, your top 4 not far at all. 16 points, the biggest gap from 1st down to 2nd. Liam Draper, Ben Kelly, 11 points back in 3rd at 99 points, and then Craig DeLong at 96 points. So all of them are riding with a lot to gain right now. There is
Brody Johnson was indeed ahead of Cleveland, so the running order on our screen is indeed the right running order. Tino Johnson, Cleveland, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And as I take a look, it did look like Davis able to get to the rear wheels now of Grant Baylor and Ryder Lafferty.
Here we see his Grant Baylor's brother, Stu Baylor, leading the way. There is Draper in the number 2 spot. Looking like he was putting a run in there, but now it's almost like he's fallen back a little bit, and Ben Kelly has made up some ground under pressure from Craig DeLong in the number 4 spot. This is the battle over the final podium position on screen, with Liam Draper just ahead, and a few seconds further up the road, Stu Baylor leading the way.
Yeah, Ben Kelly can't decide if he's on the hunt or on the run right now, and a big mistake.
Did you see what happened there? He took a look over. He didn't want to come in front of Craig. Craig checked up. They each checked up, and that is definitely a costly little mistake there, but Ben still up and going, no crash, just kind of blew into the weeds, got into the scrub there.
Barely checking up. So continuing to watch here on this live drone as they weave their way through the Ohio woods. And here's a replay of what we just had there with Kelly and DeLong. And you can see Kelly just barely turning around at the right time. Just called him out of the corner of his eye, able to check up enough for Craig DeLong not to make contact with him.
Yeah,
so those two able to stay on 2 wheels, Johnny.
A little too hot into that corner. Look at this. Is this a new leader in... It is.
Caleb
Look
Wood.
at that. Caleb Wood has gotten around Cooper Jones, and the 337.
James Jenkins making some moves as well. And James was one of the last ones into the woods as well.
Yeah, he was in the number 3 spot and still is. But that is one of our Triumph riders out there, just really kind of holding things up for that brand.
So how about it? Things getting fired up here on a beautiful St. Clairsville Sunday. As there we see, I believe that was Fustini we just saw making his way through.
Yeah, he has almost caught that 258 class, starting 2 minutes, 2 rows, essentially roughly 2 minutes behind them.
Looking like that is Cole Whitmer making his way through. So here we go, things getting fired off early. Ben Kelly grabbing the start, but Stu Baylor getting Cindy with it and marching his way through the top 3 until he was in that number 1 spot now trying to control things from the front. Meanwhile, Jordan Ashburn starting strong and losing a bit of ground. He's dropped to outside of the top 5. Liam Draper maintaining position as well, and Craig DeLong on the charge forward. How are things going to shake out? Don't forget the XC2 class leading the overall. We'll be back with more racing coming up on Racer TV.
Don't let waiting in line for service sideline your machine. Eliminate the wait and save money by doing it yourself. AMSOIL makes it simple with oil change kits that include exactly what you need in one convenient package. Choosing the right kit is also simple. Just plug your ride into the Shop by Vehicle tool at AMSOIL.com and have your kit delivered right to your door. Get the protection you demand and the performance you deserve. Order now at AMSOIL.com.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda tires, delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles: automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gasket seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best inside their engine. Cometic Gaskets are always constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environments. Whether it's a championship on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts alike depend on Cometic. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to Round 7. Beautiful St. Clairsville, Ohio. Get a look at the National Road there, Jackson. Cool bit of history going on both on and off the racing course here this week.
Yeah, it sure is. The National Road by, I believe it was George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, crossing through 6 different states. It was the first international highway like that, so some cool history going on here in St. Clairsville.
Well, you say it crosses through 6 states, but in the state of Ohio, right around St. Clairsville here, if you're on Route 70, you cross over National Road about 600 times. Every exit, it seems like, around here in St. Clairsville is National Road, National Road. So you have to know your exit number, or you can get off maybe 15, 20 miles away from where you need to be. So that's actually a big thing around here, though. Like you said, one of the first highways, and before we had 4 lanes and divided highways and exits, it was they were probably dirt at the time, or potentially gravel, and that was how people traversed the country. And with GNCC Cross Country, that's the National Cross Country Highway.
Hey, absolutely. No, a ton of history there, and a ton of history here at GNCC as we celebrated 50 years last year, and we told everybody not only are we celebrating it throughout the season, we are making a full-length film to document what GNCC is all about. We're calling it Blackwater, and we have got a sneak preview for you here right now on Racer TV.
In 1975, a small town in West Virginia named Davis was the site of a revolution because it's there that promoter Big Dave Koontz and his family put on an off-road motorcycle race, the likes of which the world had never seen before. It was called the Blackwater 100, but known simply as America's toughest race. And it gave birth to what is now known as the Grand National Cross Country Racing Series, the largest off-road racing series in the world. 50 years of history means 50 years of characters in the trenches, creating a legacy. And there's a feature film coming with stories like this.
It's scary, you know, when you're hearing somebody coming up, and when you're in front and that happens to you, you're like, oh, geez, like, who is that? And then you get spooked and don't know which way to go. So, yeah, it's pretty nerve-wracking, but it's also cool to see. I remember, you know, when Walker came past me, it was just cool to see how fast he was going, and then like I could be there one day.
I'm Jason Wygant, and I hope you'll join us in celebrating the history of the Blackwater 100 and GNCC racing as we anticipate the motorcycle movie event of the decade. We'll see you at the theater.
Well, how cool is that? Once again, that is blackwaterthemovie.com to get all of your information, your tickets. We'll see you guys at the theaters. So much fun celebrating 50 years and, man, kicking off year 51 in high gear as the battle rages on here at the front of the XC1 field, boys.
There we saw Caleb Russell, we believe, still in the number 5 spot. Josh Strang in the number 6 spot, not too far behind. Now our XC2 leaders coming through there in the number 1 and 2 spots with Reardon and Walker, and also our overall leaders. If you're just joining us, top 5 in the running order out of that XC2 class after one lap complete, with Reardon, Walker, Tino, Brody Johnson, and Toby Cleveland rounding out the top 5 overall. Jordan Ashburn has fallen much further back now. He has fallen off the back of that battle. He's behind the XC2 riders. It looked like he was fighting back there for a little bit, kind of stabilized, but something has gone very wrong for Ashburn, whether it's just arm pump, a feeling, something going on with him or the machine, and this could turn into a costly day here for Ashburn if he's not able to get moving, because he is giving up huge points to riders that he's battling with in that overall championship, namely Ben Kelly and Liam Draper.
Yeah, I was going to say this is a huge opportunity for the 198 of Draper. Still up in that fight, but got to get some momentum going his way. Needs to try to maximize points with his 2 adversaries behind him in points, or ahead of him in points, excuse me, having a bit of trouble so far this one.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get an update. Maybe once they come in for pits, we'll see where Jordan Ashburn is at after they fuel, and see if we can get an update from the Phoenix Racing Honda team to see if they know what's going on, because very abnormal for Jordan Ashburn he is Mr. Consistency. Even if he's not winning races, he's always there in the mix, in the fight, inside the top 3 or the top 5. To see him falling back now well outside the top 10, not in our running order, but on screen, we know that will be the case here at the completion of this lap. He will be well outside the top 10, maybe even outside the top 15. And I hate to say it, at the pace he looks like he's riding, he's in danger of falling outside the top 20.
Jackson, did you see? Was that Craig DeLong?
I believe so. I believe we have a new second place.
Made his way to second place, yeah, in that shot, if I'm not mistaken.
So here is our leader. There is Baylor. We'll see if it is the 3. Oh, look at that.
It is.
Wow.
The Rockstar Energy Husqvarna machine now on the move, and they're slowly but surely chipping away at that lead there from Stu Baylor.
Yeah, Liam Draper trying to tag along with him. As we hop forward to the mile 11 mark, Baylor, DeLong, and Draper now 1, 2, and 3.
Have to be curious what happened with Draper there. If Craig DeLong is just able to catch up, if he was, I'm sure Draper's saying, go on, I'll follow you, I'll tag along with you. Quite a few bike links between the top 2.
He's on a mission.
I believe that is what it is. They just downright called it.
Yeah, I think DeLong got a bit more pace here at the moment. Just like you said, Jackson, Draper trying to catch a ride along with him to the front.
Looks like a big gap has opened up now back to Ben Kelly in the number 4 spot, and what was Caleb Russell in the number 5 spot here. They were much closer, and still is Russell in 5th, closing in a little bit on Ben Kelly. There's a big gap there back from Draper in 3rd, back to Ben Kelly in 4th. Now it's Josh Strang and Mike Wachowski doing battle, and just behind them, it's your XC2 lead duo of Gus Reardon and Jack Walker.
So Liqui Moly Factory Beta and Phoenix Racing Honda battle in both classes there.
Yeah. Right in order, too. XC1 riders battling, XC2 riders battling. And they'll have to try to maintain their positions, but also be kind to their XC2 teammates as well.
Excited to see what happens once they check back in. Going to make 2 laps complete next time they make their way through.
There we see Jordan Ashburn still not able to try to
Are you guys seeing anything? I don't see anything with the bike.
Body language.
Yeah,
I mean, sometimes it's hard to tell, but I mean, he has lost not only positions, but I mean, huge amounts of time. I really believe, looking at the lap times of the riders with 1 lap complete, I'm going to have him slated somewhere in that like 17, 18 to potentially 20 OA or worse. We didn't see Grant Davis either come through that camera shot.
I don't think we did. That's a good point.
That's,
especially after the last round. Yeah, not sure how solid he was as far as feeling he could go the distance.
Well, we know the distance right now between these 2 riders out front is starting to close up. Stu Baylor's been putting on a charge, able to stretch out a gap, but now Craig DeLong right in that roost zone, eating dust and tracking down the 514 of Baylor. And this is the most racy we've seen Craig DeLong looking here in 2026. This is an impressive ride.
Well, and all Craig needs is a little steam to build with him, and he can be a threat. He's a past champion. We know this, and so DeLong felt a sense of relief, I think, when he got that podium earlier this season. But now he knows, hey, I belong up here again. I've still got what it takes. Let's bring this fight to the front.
And Craig DeLong was very much in the mix for a podium 2 weeks ago, coming in right on the rear wheel of Caleb Russell. The final lap, they were all over each other, battling over that 3rd place position. DeLong ultimately coming home in 4th. So it's not the first we've seen him running up front, but to me, he just looks aggressive, confident, and he's looking to go to the front.
Going to be exciting. Last time we saw him at one of our static shots, it was the mile 11 marker, so not going to be much longer, and they're going to be checking in at the finish, and we're going to see, is the XC2 going to be able to maintain the top 5 spots?
Yeah, Jackson, this camera shot right here is actually up above the well pad there, so they're going to pop out of the woods here in just a few more corners, and then they'll come just past the start line section there, and from there, really all they have to do is head through the pits, and then they are back to the finish line for 2 laps complete.
At the mile 12 now.
You can see that inside line developing just a little bit more.
Draper in the number 3 spot has lost a little bit of ground to Craig DeLong, who passed him somewhere in the last few miles. Stu Baylor hasn't taken a look over his shoulder yet, but if he does, I believe he's going to be a little bit surprised. He was expecting to see Liam Draper, who was there a moment ago, but now it's the 342 Rockstar Racing Husqvarna of Craig DeLong on a charge and closing down the gap to your leader, Stu Baylor.
I think in one of those last field sections, I caught Stu glancing over, so he may know who it is, but for the moment, doing a good job of keeping him at bay.
Was there a mile 12 marker where the stump was on the inside turn?
No, that's early on in the lap.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where out by where the that section of racetrack I recognize. It's right where you kind of past where you pay when you're coming in the gate.
Nice. Here we go through the pit row. By the semis, the boys go.
Look at that. Draper closed the gap up in that camera shot. Definitely much closer.
Following along with Draper here as only a few bike links off DeLong. Still not letting him go yet.
Yeah, relatively even. I mean, your top 3 on screen right now.
Ben Kelly continuing to manage here today, riding potentially slightly injured after his crash 2 weeks ago in that number 4 spot, looking to gain some valuable championship points to keep himself in the fight. But as they run right now, I'm pretty confident that we would have a new points leader if it finished like this, with Liam Draper even in the number 3 spot, Jordan Ashburn fading back quickly through the top 20 and maybe even potentially outside the top 20 on the pace he's on right now.
Yeah, really curious to see what the story tells after they make their way through the finish line. Liam Draper, though, on the charge and trying to close the gap up to the lead. We were able to catch up with the 198 and talk to him a little bit about how it feels to sit in that number 2 spot in your XC1 points.
Definitely, closer spot than I was this time last year. Obviously, Tennessee was an average day for me. I've always struggled at that place. I don't know why, because I ride rocks a lot from where I'm from in PA, so it's weird to me that I always struggle there. But last year was, I think I was 16th, so It was a little bit better, but it was obviously not where I need to be, especially with Jordan winning and being the points leader. So a little bummed with that, but excited for Powerline. It's an hour from the house. I've raced some locals here, and I really enjoy this place.
So there you have it from the 198, a local field, like you said, just about an hour or so from his house. And that's one of those quiet, confident things. It just adds a boost. It's not going to completely make or break your day, but it's a nice little added bonus when you get to the race.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you just kind of closer to home. He said he's run local races here, familiar with the terrain, familiar with the dirt, just a little bit extra swagger coming into the day today. Sitting in that number 3 spot, and as he pointed out, not a great run for him 2 weeks ago in Tennessee, but now in a podium position. And what he can't possibly know, and I'm sure no one's going to tell him, is that Jordan Ashburn, our points leader, having a rough lap number 2. We don't have an update. We don't know what's going on. He is out there circulating, looks to be riding at full capacity, but he is just moving backwards through the field at a pretty alarming rate at this point, Zach.
Yeah, we're waiting here. Looking on our screen right now, it looks like maybe Stu having some transponder issues or something.
Yeah, he definitely did check in there. I'm showing him on my end, looking here at the actual checkpoint software. He is leading the way with a lap time of 31:06. But Craig DeLong with a 30:57. Wait, that can't possibly be right.
And you can refresh it again as our XC2 riders now make their way through.
Yeah, so a 31:06 for Baylor. A 30:57 for Craig DeLong, a 31:03 for Liam Draper. So both Draper and DeLong faster than Baylor that lap. And then a 31:25 for Gus Reardon. So 39 seconds faster on lap number 1. But now the XC1 boys are charging and ran a much faster lap 2. But it's still Reardon and Walker in those overall 1 and 2 positions. We'll wait for Jason Tino to check in to see. And look at that. Tino now... Oh, nope, he hasn't checked in. Still showing only 1 lap complete.
So going to be interesting to watch. And I'm telling you what, those lap times tell a lot, as DeLong several seconds faster than the rest of the field and didn't look like he was trying that hard as well. Kind of just letting the race come to him. Seemed very comfortable on that Rockstar Husky machine. So could this be the day DeLong jumps up and steals a win?
Look at this. Jason Tino checks in now all the way back to 9th place overall. Was third on lap number 1. And Brody Johnson actually ahead of him there in the number 7 spot has taken over 3rd place in that XC2 class. 35 seconds behind Jack Walker. So things starting to stretch out a bit in that XC2 class.
Yeah, we thought we lost Brody Johnson. Meanwhile, he's actually turned it around and made a pass forward now into that number 3 spot. So Gus Reardon, Jack Walker, Brody Johnson, Jason Tino, and Toby Cleveland, your top 3 out of your WXC class. Don't forget, of course, the green numbers on your screen stand for the green backgrounds of your XC2 class, red being the red backgrounds of your XC1 field. And then shout out Jix Fustini, Cooper Jones, still shown inside that top 20 overall as leaders on screen.
Yeah, and our overall amateurs there still from lap number 1. They have not yet checked in with 2 laps complete. It's actually Toby Cleveland has also not checked in with 2 laps complete here just yet. We'll refresh. So it is just your top 15 overall, unless we've got a pause in live timing and scoring here. Toby Cleveland has not checked in. Grant Davis has not checked in.
Shot we had there at the mile 1 marker. Cameraman having to hide behind the tree for good reason. The boys sending it here across the road, landing, hitting it through a berm, some ruts, and rocketing back off is that Ashburn making his way through. So
yeah, and for the moment, Jordan still showing in that number 12 spot. So he has seemingly fought back. He's gotten back around Baylor. He's gotten back around Lafferty, and look at this battle for the lead, and it's 3 riders in the same camera shot. Stu Baylor leading the way, but Craig DeLong is getting chirpy. He's throwing everything he has at Baylor right now. Inside, outside, he is all over the 514 of Baylor. Liam Draper sitting back there just a few bike lengths behind, saying, okay, boys, you do your thing. I'm going to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, I think so. We've got a show on our hands here. Ooh, swapping back and forth is that Rockstar Husky, but DeLong leaves the power on, and this going to pull right up alongside Stu Baylor.
Shoots to the inside, back to the outside. Can Craig DeLong make the pass? Here we go, another section.
You know, we talk about riders having a little bit of extra mojo. Hold on, let's watch this and see if DeLong's able. Wow.
Stu Baylor pointed him through.
Yeah, Baylor saying, okay, buddy, you're obviously on a mission. Maybe DeLong's got some lines figured out, and Baylor wanting to latch on and see what Craig DeLong is doing to close up the gap so quickly.
And when I see somebody get ahead the way Stu Baylor did off the start there for those first about hour, the only thing I know to compare it to is something like NASCAR. When you have those long races, you know that there's so many pit stops, there's so much stuff that has to go on. You just wonder, can somebody like Stu Baylor be able to lead it from flag to flag? There's still a big chance that he could take the big win here today.
Well, and we've seen these riders time and time again talk about managing that time, managing that effort, and you saw from Stu right there, pointing forward, he could tell Craig was feeling himself. These riders know they have good days and bad days. Some days it seems like they can't put a wheel wrong. Craig DeLong maybe just having one of those days. So like you said, Jackson, Stu going to let him by, start taking some notes, start to see if he can pick up on some things, and then give it another hour, hour and a half or so, and we're going to find out who's really ready to put up a fight.
Yeah, and as we're watching this fight for the lead between 3 riders here on screen, there's so many different ways to win a race. You know, we obviously see these flag-to-flag wins, and those are sensational, and that's great. But look at this Draper now starting to look like he's trying to get an angle on Stu Baylor and make the pass for the number 2 spot. But sometimes in 3 hours of racing, it can be so difficult to maintain that pace and intensity. Stu Baylor did look to me, just my untrained eye, that he was trying to put a push in early, trying to break these riders, trying to open up a gap. When he didn't succeed, when Craig DeLong and even Liam Draper were able to kind of match his pace, looked like he settled in, kind of started hitting his line, standing up more, wasn't pushing the pace as much. Not that he was slowing down, but he just wasn't. He had kind of conceded that, okay, at least at this point in the race, I'm not able to break away. So you're not going to just keep pushing, taking risks. But it looks like that's what Craig DeLong is going to do right now. He wants to march away and see if he can take his shot at trying to break these guys, get out front, and open up a gap. And he's looking really strong right now.
And depending on how hard Stu Baylor's pushing, that is something that'll break you, Zach.
And we just saw a pass right there from Caleb Russell around the number 1 of Ben Kelly here at the 3-mile mark. So great catch there from the cameras as Russell starts to march his way forward. The battle between the 7 and 8 rages on. Josh Strang and Mike Wachowski.
The teammate battles, we were referencing that early, and we think just behind them is the battle for the XC2 lead between this rider right here, Gus Reardon, and no, he has opened up a little bit of gap, still a battle, but that is about the biggest gap we've seen in that XC2 class here so far today.
Yeah, Walker going to try to regroup, see if he can close back in on Gus Reardon.
As we're refreshing timing and scoring here, so Jigs Festini now up to that 14th place spot in the overall. He has actually now passed a few more riders. Jordan Ashburn did stabilize much better than it had looked like about midway through lap number 2, but he is sitting in that 12th place spot. But look at that. We've got a whole bunch more overall top amateurs inside the top 20 overall, with Jigs Festini leading the way. Caleb Wood out of that 250A class leading the way in that one. 17th overall. Cooper Jones second in 250A, 18th overall. Chase Landers third in 250A, 19th overall. And James Jenkins fourth in 250A and 20th overall.
How about it? So the kids are doing all right. We jump back to the Yamaha Racing Live drone. Picking up another one of those high-speed open sections. Jackson, we've been hearing it all weekend long. You ask what the favorite part of the course is, and it's one of those things where some days everybody's got the same answer, right? It's the mud hole, it's the one field section. This weekend seems like every time you talk to a kid, there's something different that they like, and that went all the way through the amateur ranks.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And a lot of the riders that I got to talk to, or at least several of them, saying that they like these big open field sections, that was some of their favorite parts. And it looks like that's probably the favorite part for some of those guys right now, like Craig DeLong. I'm sure he'd say the same after being able to make the pass for the lead there. But you're exactly right, Zach. There's something, as Bolton would say, there's a little something for everybody at this one.
No doubt about it. As we wait for your leaders here at the 5-mile mark, the FMF PowerPoint.
as I was saying just a few minutes ago before we pop back to the mile 3 marker to see Russell making that pass, we talk about breaking the momentum of these riders. I think Craig DeLong, if he can keep this up, that's the kind of stuff that will break somebody. And we'll see. Right now, Stu Baylor, he says no way. He's starting to catch back up.
Yeah, and Jackson, as we look at the points here, Craig DeLong sitting in that number 4 spot. We talked about that. So we've been talking a lot about the points battle between Ashburn, Draper, and Kelly. But DeLong, as Zach mentioned earlier, 96 points, still very much in the thick of this championship fight, and a former series champion. So what better way to kind of get yourself in the mix than to grab your first win, get max points, and throw your name in the hat and say, hey, I know you guys are battling for a championship, but don't forget about me. I've won one of these things before.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. So for just now getting our first 2-time winner of the season, Johnny, with Jordan Ashburn. Who knows? Today we might have another one.
Yes. So we had 5 different winners through the first 5 rounds. Now we start to see left riders coming into the mix here. DeLong checking up early, taking that inside line. There is Caleb Russell in the number 4 spot as he was able to work his way around the number 1 of Ben Kelly. We know is laboring, still feeling the effects of a big crash from 2 weeks ago at our Old Gray race in Tennessee. And then Josh Strang charging hard on that Liqui Moly Factory Beta, and Mike Mikowski on that Phoenix Racing Honda number 8 machine. We saw him up front early, kind of fade back, and now he seems to be making a charge back up on the rear wheel of Strang, trying to fight for position just outside the top 5.
Look at this. The 3-rider battle here starting to close back up between DeLong, Baylor, and Draper. Trying to peek through the woods. You can see the boys popping in and out. It looked like a foot off the pegs there for Stu Baylor, just about really getting with it through this section.
The Baylor boys don't mind getting loose.
No, not them.
There is Ashburn now with some lapped riders and also Grant Baylor in tow. Sitting in that 12th place spot overall. We could do some math, but at this point, don't know that it's worth figuring. That would, though, be 9 points for Jordan Ashburn. And if right now Craig DeLong would gain 30 points, so that would be a 21-point advantage. We'd have to start doing some math. We'll do that a little later in the show because things we expect may continue to shake up as our leaders on screen continue to do battle. Craig DeLong leading the way, and Stu Baylor in the number 2 spot just behind, and the Ampro Yamaha of Liam Draper in 3rd. So we've got 3 different manufacturers, 3 different teams represented in the top 3. And they are throwing down right now, full sprint mode.
What I love about GNCC racing is it's anybody's guess. It could be they could finish the way that they're running right now. It could be completely different by the end of this race. We could see somebody like Caleb Russell be up at the front of the pack. Another big question with our XC2 class. I could see those guys bringing it all the way down to the checkered flag. Then again, they might drop off by the next lap around. That's all part of GNCC racing. Russell making his way over here at the mile 6 mark. Look at this. Different line there from Ben Kelly.
Yeah, actually, Ben took that line on lap number 1. We did see as well up the inside there, and there is Strang, and just behind him, Witkowski. But I got to say, shout out to Ben Kelly, knowing what he's riding through. I mean, this is a hero's effort, even 1 hour and 20 minutes in, hearing 1 hour and 20 minutes into this one. He's riding through likely a lot of pain and discomfort. Looks like Jack Walker now has closed up the gap a little bit to our XC2 leader, Gus Reardon. Those two have traded that position back and forth a few times here through the early laps, and they have distanced themselves. Looking at Brody Johnson in the number 3 spot, we put out 35 seconds behind, and then back to Jason Tino, only another 4 seconds. So if we're staying here at this camera shot, we may get a view of that battle over the final podium position in XC2.
And we see Jordan Ashburn making his way through just in front of Grant Baylor.
Guys, while we wait for that battle for XC2, I got to tell you, I'm a little bit perplexed. Jordan Ashburn running in that number 12 spot overall, that is just not very Jordan Ashburn-esque to me. Having the points lead, running strong early, I'm really curious if he's just missed the bike setup. Again, riding tight, don't know what the issue is, but he is definitely not looking like the Jordan we have seen the last 2 races with back-to-back wins.
So we saw Tino. Did we see?
Yes.
We did see Brody.
Brody came through. He looked like he had opened up that gap a little bit, maybe just a couple seconds, but they are... Oh, that was a cool line from Josh Toth. Don't know that it was any faster, but Toth always creative out there.
Well, a very unique track here. Jordan Ashburn, like we said, not sure whether it maybe missed the mark a little bit. We were able to catch up with Jordan a little earlier this weekend and talk to him about the track here at Powerline Park.
Driving in here, I know like all the years that I've been here through my career, like I've never seen the place dry, and it was kind of dry. So that was uncharacteristic, but it looks like we might get the rain, and it's definitely a super slick technical track. Even when it's not a ruddy track, like last year was super ruddy. We're not going to have that this year, but it'll be almost a little more difficult when it's not ruddy, because it's a lot of off cambers, and you got to really stay on the edge of the bike, trying to get traction and stuff.
So there it is, guys. We get to hear from Jordan Ashburn, and had some thoughts about how dry this place was. He very well could have missed the mark on his setup.
Be curious to see, that's for sure.
I saw a lot of scoop tires, and Jordan is a rider that will run the scoop. I did not actually look at Jordan's machine to see what he was running, but that EN91, he seems to perform really well on, which is what he won on just 2 weeks ago in Tennessee. And it's one of those things where when you talk about tire choice, it is very difficult on a track like this because of how slick it is, but here it is now dry. So we did see a variety of tires on that front row, but an overwhelming number of that MX-14, the scoops.
No doubt about it, as the battle rages on here now, an hour and 20 minutes into this approximately 3-hour-long duel, as Craig DeLong has got momentum on his side. He is marching forward on the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. Stu Baylor putting up a good fight, and then Liam Draper far from out of this as well. Stu Baylor pointing him on, says, go, let me figure out what you're doing. Craig DeLong going to try to defend this thing from the front. How's it all going to shake out? We'll have more GNCC racing back here in just a moment on Racer TV.
Hey race fans, Gear Bicycles is on hand today with the all-new Gen 4 Specialized Levo. They also have great deals on Gen 3 Levos and used bikes. Stop by their booth and see for yourself how fun it could be riding around these GNCC hills. Gear Bicycles is sponsored by Progressive. When you stop by their booth, you can find out why it's important to insure your e-bike, dirt bike, ATV, or RV. Once again, thanks for being here today, and enjoy your day.
We've been there since the very beginning.
20 laps, the main event, the mud, the blood, the beer.
Organizing the industry and building champions. "100 years of defending your rights to ride into the future."
Community, family, teamwork. It's what we have stood on for over a decade. Hauling might be what we do at the surface, but it's much deeper than that, because what you need matters. When you need a haul, give us a call at 724-852-4488. For 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year, we at JD Enterprises are prepared to serve you.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to beautiful sunny St. Clairsville, Ohio, here for round number 7 of the 2026 Progressive GNCC racing season. Here at the Kenda Tires Powerline Park, it is round 7 for ATV and motorcycles, but it was round 2 for the Progressive EMTB Racing Series. And Jackson, a lot of anticipation in this one. Our reigning champ from last year, Cody Piverato, making his debut for the season and going toe-to-toe with Charlie Mullins, your round 1 winner.
Yeah, Zach, and Charlie Mullins, how about him? Glad to have the veteran of the EMTB race, a guy that kind of helped start this EMTB series, and as you can see, able to pick up another win. Teo able to pick up himself a win too, I do believe. Matt Rice having himself a good one. And there you can see it. XC1 class going to Charlie Mullins. Charlie able to go 2 for 2, and I do believe he's going to be with us at Snowshoe. He said that was one he really likes. He's going to keep doing it as long as he's having fun, and I sure hope we can keep making it fun for him. It's nice to have him out.
There was a crowd of young EMTB fans on Friday asking Charlie Mullins if he was going to come out and race, and he actually said, hey, I'm here, might as well go out and have a good time, get it done, do some racing, and obviously grabbing another win here, a former multi-time champion in that EMTB series, and always cool to see him go out there and do his thing.
Yeah, it sure is. And hey, speaking of doing their thing, here in the Racer TV booth, going to be joined with our WXC winner for the day, Brandy Richards. How's it going? There we go.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Just out here hanging out now.
Yeah, well, glad to have you with us. How'd it go today?
Oh, it was good. I second off the start, and then just behind Corey the whole first lap. It was a little slippery the first lap, so we were a little patient. And, man, me, Corey, and Danielle, we battled literally the whole race. It was pretty intense. It was kind of luck which way you got through the lappers. And the last lap, I know Danielle had a bike issue the second to last lap, and then it was just me and Corey. And, man, we were going at it. And it came down to, like, maybe a mile before the finish, one of these corners. Corey just ran it in a little deep on me, but she was going a little too fast, got kicked, and was nose wheelied all the way into the bush in front of me. So it was a pretty close battle, but definitely a lot of fun.
Man, you really sliced and diced off that start there, made something out of nothing, able to get up into second before you headed into the woods. And
yeah, for sure.
There you can see it. That was the fight between you two right there.
If it's right here where Corey runs it in a little fast. I seen her coming, and I was like, oh.
Let her go. Oh, man. Tough break for Corey, but nonetheless, Brandy able to get the job done.
Brandy, that is now 3 wins in a row, if I'm not mistaken, and 4 on the season. So starting to really shape up to be a great season for you. We know you have had a ton of championships out west in the Work Series and other series out west, but as we see our leaders now coming by on screen, looks like that was our 5th place ride of Caleb Russell. There is 6th, Ben Kelly, who has stabilized after a little bit of a rough lap there, dropping a few positions, but still running solidly inside the top 5. So tell us a little bit about kind of your progress here in GNCC. Obviously coming in, highly touted, a lot of support from KTM to get you out here, kind of get you used to East Coast racing. How do you feel about it now that you're coming to many of these tracks for the 3rd and maybe even 4th time? Does it give you a little bit more confidence? Do you feel more prepared coming into these races?
Yeah, I would say definitely just learning like the flow of things is a little bit, is a little bit better. Just knowing the way the lappers are, like when to push, how the tracks are, and basically just riding the woods. Like riding the woods is so hard to learn from the West Coast, just being from the desert. Like I'm not from the northern part of the West Coast, so it's definitely southern, full desert racer.
Lake Havasu City,
Lake
correct?
Havasu City, yep.
So if you've never been there, the nearest tree is roughly 1,800 miles away.
Basically, yeah. So definitely no trees. So learning that and then learning the mud and the tree roots and all that was definitely a challenge. I think now, I mean, last year I definitely missed a lot. So like here, I've only been here once before this. So it's just like learning the way the lappers are and learning everything has been a challenge. But I think now I've definitely learned a lot, and I feel a lot better, more confident in the races.
So obviously coming in, I believe this is your 3rd or 4th full season now.
This is my 3rd season, and last year I missed quite a bit. So I'd say it's like 2.5.
Yeah, so this is the third full season. Last year out with the injury after Camp Coker. Obviously that shook things up quite a bit in the points. Now that you're in the mix for this points championship, does it change your mindset any coming into the races, or is it still just go out, pin it, try to grab some wins?
Yeah, I'd say it's just wins. So I had 2 bad races. I think it was Alabama. I had a bad race. That was tough just with my broken leg. And then Camp Coker actually had a bad race. That place doesn't really like me. I just had a bike issue and finished, I think, 7th. So from then on, I was like, I just need to keep winning, and that's the only thing I can really do. So for me, it's kind of just a win-only kind of deal.
Well, it's a win-only kind of deal, but obviously you guys do get some drops in WXC, and let's reference that. You say the broken leg, that was sustained at round number 1, I believe, at Big Buck, correct? During the race?
Yeah, during the race, the 3rd lap.
And you finished?
2nd.
Finished 2nd with a broken leg. Came back at round 2 in Florida, and where'd you finish in that race?
I won Florida.
You won Florida, was it 2 weeks or 3 weeks? 2 weeks later.
2 weeks later, yeah.
2 weeks later with a broken leg. What's the status report on that now? How is it feeling as we're now, quite a bit removed from that? Is it still affecting you? And folks at home, you heard that correctly. 2 weeks after breaking her leg in a race where she still managed to finish second, comes back and wins a race, arguably one of the roughest races in Florida 2 weeks later, showing just how tough these ladies are. True spirit of GNCC. But what's the status report on that leg, and how are we feeling now sitting here at round number 7?
Now it's fully healed. I have no issues with it. Now it's just getting my strength back because whoa, been getting a little wild. I lost a little bit of strength, just not being able to use my calf a little bit, walking and stuff. So just a little bit lower on the strength, but other than that, it's totally healed, no issues.
And tell us a little bit about this racetrack out there today, since you are fresh off the track and fresh off a win. What were your thoughts of this Powerline racetrack with the rain that we had yesterday? Obviously very dry coming into the weekend, so everything kind of packed up quite a bit harder than maybe expected through the youth races yesterday. Then we had that rain come in during the morning race. What were your thoughts on the grip, the flow of the track? Give us from your perspective.
I actually was very surprised with how good it was. Our first lap, anywhere where the minis didn't go, was so slippery. It was icy. But after that, it got a little bit better, and then it starts getting some ruts, so some stuff you can actually turn off of. Anything that's in the sun is pretty much dry now, but it's still slippery no matter what, just the hard pack stuff, so slippery. But it's definitely, it looks really good, but then you go through it and you're like, ooh, slippery.
So you guys obviously had a wheel-to-wheel battle throughout much of the race between you and Corey. Obviously, we got to see that dramatic pass attempt coming to the finish on the last lap. Sometimes you got to give it a go. I know you guys are close friends off the track, but speak to us a little bit about how the battling was. Obviously, with these track conditions, we see the top 3 separated by just bike lengths. Is it a track that offers a decent number of passing opportunities and is pretty racy, or is it sections of the track where it kind of falls into a one-line, follow the leader?
Some parts are racy, the fields are very racy, you can really get different angles at them, but some of the track is hard to pass on just because it's slippery, and you're trying to find stuff to turn off of, those berms or those ruts, and there's not too many of them out there. But it's a challenging track, so it's easy to make a mistake, and I think that makes it racy too, because it's easy, you make mistakes, someone get by you quick. So I think that makes it definitely more racy. It was hard to push and get a gap because it is so slippery and technical.
Was there stuff that snuck up on you out there? I've noticed a lot of big boulders that were hiding underneath some of the silt that we have kicked up from the ATVs. I noticed a few things. Noticed one of our Draper right there just a second ago getting a huge kick out of one of those corners that I don't think he expected. Was that some of the case for you in the AM?
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely some tree roots and stumps that sneak up on you. I had just something off the side of the track, like a stump or something, just grabbed my foot and I almost went down. So it's a lot of stuff you can't see, and I think a lot of the rocks kind of blend in with this dirt, especially when it's wet and it's that darker brown color. But yeah, and a lot of the tree roots, they look like you could just hit them fine and they'll just grab you and get you a little sideways.
Well, Brandy, we obviously appreciate you taking the time. We know you're probably a little worn out from that race, but before, and you're welcome to stay as long as you want. We'd love to hear your insight as we watch this battle for the lead. But before we do kind of give you the green light to go if you'd like, I got to put you on the spot. We've got a great battle between 3 riders here. Give us your pick. Who's going to get the job done here today?
What comes to mind here is 2 years ago, Craig and Johnny racing, and Craig...
Through this section, right here to the finish line.
Yep, and Craig Craig kept it on, and Johnny was like, man, I was ready to kill you. But yeah, it's gonna come down to the end, I think. I want to say I'm gonna go for Craig. I'm just gonna root for Craig. I think he's been fast all year and just had some bad luck. And I've gotten to see Craig, like we all train together at Club MX sometimes, so I've gotten to see Craig battling with Grant a little bit when we're training. So I know he can go fast, and I think he'll do good.
Well, there you go. You see our leaders on screen, all 3 riders into the pits. We see Stu Baylor at the far end of the screen there, Liam Draper in and out of the pits, Craig DeLong in and out of the pits, and it looks like Draper's going to make the pass on Baylor for the number 2 spot, just by about a bike length there. Interesting to note there, it looked like Baylor's pit crew was actually done, but he was looking over and either motioning or saying something to the crew looking to the left, and Liam Draper able to sneak around the outside and make the move for the number 2 spot.
Yeah, they almost had to push him to go there and say, go on. I wonder what could be going on, if he thought that they needed something else or what that could be.
Looks like now we see Ben Kelly coming through the pits here. Looks like he has been in and out of the FMF Red Bull KTM factory pits. We did see Gus Reardon had gotten to the rear wheel of him there. Well, Reardon hadn't pitted yet, so he was pretty close there. But there he is, in and out of that Phoenix Racing Honda pits, leading the way in that XC2 class. Looks like there is Grant Davis. I believe that is Grant Davis's machine.
Yes, and I think we did get an update just a little while ago from Mr. Mike Holbert saying that one of our crew that'll tow him out of the woods, that it looked like possibly some troubles for the KTM machine. And Jack Walker having trouble, Adam. Is that what you're saying? Oh, man. Getting sounds like just a little bit up the road from where Grant Davis possibly broke down. We are getting told Grant Davis broke down. I want to wait to give that official until we see the bike underneath the tent, but we're told Grant Davis broke down. Now getting told Jack Walker broke down, and that is going to be a big shakeup for our XC2.
Yeah, big shakeup in those XC2 points, and possibly a big shakeup today in the XC1 points. This rider right here, Jordan Ashburn, having a rough couple laps. You know, Brandon, maybe you can speak to a little bit of this. We'll have an opportunity if we follow him with the camera here. Don't know if you've been following the racing action, but Ashburn looked really strong early, up actually battling for the lead, or in the lead group at least, and then seemingly just slowly working his way backward through the top 10. We see him there running in the number 12 spot. We'll get an update when they check in here in just another little bit of racetrack. Now your leaders further ahead on track are coming through the final chicanes and into the finish line. I get it, you haven't been able to see it, we've been watching on TV, but anything out there that could potentially cause him to have some struggles as far as the course or maybe tightening up? You mentioned kind of an uncertain race surface. How much did that play? Did you battle yourself with any arm pump out there today? Or
I didn't have any arm pump just because our first lap was so slippery. We were kind of cruising a little bit more. Now, don't hold me to it. I did hear something about Grant and him getting in, together in a mud hole.
Okay.
But it was either him or Witkowski. I know it was one of the Honda boys, but don't hold me to it. But I did hear that, and then after that, I did see Ashburn kind of drop back. So.
Well, we hear a lot of things. And,
yeah, it's hard to.
You got to kind of take it all with a grain of salt, in a good way, unless you hear it from the horse's mouth themselves. But I also did hear kind of a rumor mill that Jordan Ashburn may have had a crash this week or sometime from the last race, so potentially feeling the effects of that. Josh Toth in with a filter change, so doesn't look all that dusty on Racer TV, but we have seen some sections where there's obviously out in the fields those silt berms. Maybe that coming into play, or just preventative maintenance saying, hey, we're going to keep you going since we're stopping for your fuel anyway. We're going to go ahead and give you a fresh filter there. And Baylor, his teammate in the number 3 spot, charging, trying to close the gap back up to our second place rider of Liam Draper on track, but out front leading the way, at least with, and he has now checked in with 3 laps complete with a 31.33. So once again, Draper, DeLong, and Baylor all still, actually, DeLong and Draper faster than Reardon, but Baylor 3 seconds slower than Reardon on that lap. And looking at the elapsed time now of 1 hour 36.50 for Reardon, he is holding a lead of about 14 seconds over Craig DeLong on time correction, as now we see one of our top amateur riders on screen, the 220 out of that 258 class of Cooper Jones. You see him running solidly inside the top 20 there in 18th place overall.
I want to know what is going on between that 8 and 9 mile marker that calls those guys. I'm assuming that is just a coincidence, but nonetheless, 2 of our top riders having technical difficulties in that same mile of track.
And we saw that in the WXC race with you, Brandy, with the third place of Danielle McDonald actually, I believe, busting the case on that machine. She had to get some oil throughout the race, and she was able to limp it in, but nonetheless, we've saw this track already claim a few.
Yeah, definitely. I did get to witness Danielle's
oh, really?
issue. She was just pushing a little hard through the lappers and ended up, bonsaiing it into a tree. And
oh, wow.
And that section that she fell in is like got that embedded rock, so it is kind of hard. But I know that whole side of this racetrack does have a little bit more rock, and it is a little bit more wet, so it's easier to make a mistake. So it could be a little bit of that.
I kind of, with Jack Walker, I feel like the two-stroke may be a little more susceptible to having some of those troubles. Maybe not.
Yeah, we're going to take a look. Sorry, go ahead, Jack.
No, I was going to say the same thing. Going to take a look at some lap times here.
And looking down there, fastest lap of this lap number 3, Caleb Russell sitting back in that 5th place spot. Actually, sorry, 4th place spot in XC1 and 5th overall. Only by a few seconds, but Russell starting to stir back there. 17 seconds behind Stu Baylor when they checked in that number 4 spot. And Baylor has definitely lost some ground here through this section of racetrack. He came out of the pits right on the rear wheel of DeLong and is continually, from each camera shot, lost just a few seconds. So you have to wonder, is Baylor regrouping for a charge here? Now we see Reardon. There is your XC2 leader. And now, finally, we do see our 2nd place in XC2 checked in. Brody Johnson in that 9th place spot overall. And Jason Tino just 1 second behind him in the number 2 spot. But the gap for Reardon out front, 1 minute and 15 seconds. So Gus Reardon on an absolute tear right now, opening up a sizable gap here through 3 laps of racing.
How about it? This could be a big day for Gus Reardon, as well as that Phoenix Honda crew over there. This would be the first time Reardon, I believe, has found himself to the top step of the podium in the XC2 aboard that Honda machine.
Yes, aboard that machine. No, he grabbed the win, I believe, at Camp Coker.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. I know he won one earlier this year.
I'll double check and take a look here. But yeah, nonetheless, it would be a big day for the Phoenix team and Reardon to be able to get up, and especially Johnny, if he can continue to do what he's doing right now and take the overall win. This would be an absolutely huge day for the entire team as well as him. And hopefully Mom's going to be here from Australia as well. She won't have to watch it at Monday morning.
Saw her out there walking around. You referenced that earlier. She is here checking out the action in person. Mom and Dad kind of taking turns making it to as many races as they can, having moved full-time back to Australia. They were living here in North Carolina the last couple years, I believe, at least most of the time. Now they're based back out of Australia. Gus himself living here, and his brother, who raced hard enduro, going back to Australia as well. So not competing in the U.S. Hard Enduro Series here in 2026. Leader on screen, Craig DeLong. Just behind him, the 198 of Draper in the number 2 spot, and the gap opening up a little bit more back to Stu Baylor. And that is Baylor on screen. So still very much within striking distance, but not quite able to match the pace of the lead duo here through this section of racetrack.
Johnny, you are right. Reardon able to get the win there at round number 4, but man, it was a tough few races just before that. A 12th place and then a 10th place finish for him at rounds 2 and 3. A 6th place there at round number 5 after getting the win at round 4, and then a 2nd place for him at our last round, round number 6.
There you have it. So Reardon looking to double up and get his 2nd win of the season with a 1 minute and 15 second lead here. 3 laps down, 1 hour and 43 minutes on the clock of 3 hours. But this guy out front, Craig DeLong, pointing to his goggles, I believe there, motioning something. So maybe needing to get himself a fresh set of goggles there for some clear vision. But one thing he can see for sure is the 198 of Draper just behind him. And he is pushing the pace. Looks like Draper now wanting to take over that lead position.
Well, if you think back when he was getting those goggles over in the pit lane, there was a ton of dust being through his way, and it definitely looked like it gave him some trouble trying to put those goggles on, and I'm sure plenty of dirt on his face as well that could fall into those goggles. So Craig DeLong, I'm sure needing some of goggles right now if he's pointing to it.
Well, and also I noticed, I didn't think it was a big deal, but it looked like those goggles flipped inside out when they handed them to him. So potentially something falling off the visor. Yes. Brandy, you can speak to that. Sometimes when you do that goggle change, if it's not perfect, you can drop some debris in there. And when that's bouncing around inside the lens, that can wreak havoc on your ability to focus.
Yeah, it's definitely annoying. And even if you got something in your eye, it's one of the worst things.
Yeah, no doubt that. hurts very bad. And you see it all the time here in GNCC. A lot of these races, the guys will have to ditch their goggles, and immediately after, they got to go over to the SOS safety on-site team and get those eyes flushed out. We saw riders like Caleb Russell actually getting to the point that he couldn't even open his eyes and having to retire from the race early just because of that. Watching back from our live drone, those were the top two making their way through. DeLong and Draper, now Stu Baylor checking in. And this could be a pivotal moment of the race, an hour and 45 minutes into it. Is Baylor going to be able to stay with this crew, or is DeLong and Draper going to be able to drop them? Johnny, do either one of you two expect any more pit stops for the rest of this one?
I think with the timing of the pit stops, they should be able to make it. Most of the riders appearing to be on one-stop strategy. Hour and 43 minutes in, I think we should only see, 2, maybe 3 more laps if it does go long, which I kind of am starting to think what we may end up having here is a 5-lap race. We'll wait for official word from live timing and scoring as Grant Baylor works his way past the mile 3 marker with some lap riders in tow. But that may be it for planned pit stops, at least. We may see some riders come in, potentially correct along, like we pointed out, maybe needing some goggles, but he can get those anywhere on the racetrack. That does not need to be in our pro row pit area. He can get those from any team member. There is Ashburn still running in that number 12 spot overall, still looking to gain himself some valuable points despite some unknown struggles here today. All these riders out there. There is Tino third in that XC2. Actually, he's now second in XC2. He's gotten around Brody Johnson there. We showed Johnson in the number 2 spot and 9th overall, but we did just see on screen there the 226 of Tino, one of your teammates there, Brandy, able to make the pass, get himself into that number 2 spot, but he's got a pretty big bridge to cross to get to our leader, Gus Reardon, a gap of 1 minute and 15 seconds.
Yeah, that's a pretty big gap. He might need a little bit of luck, but I do think Tino is a little bit better at the end of the race. I know he's got great fitness. We have all the same training and stuff. I see what these guys do during the week.
Is that a new leader?
It looks like it.
Yes, the 198 of Draper has taken. We noticed he was really starting to get aggressive through that last camera shot, and now he has taken over the lead position up to the lead with DeLong in the number 2 spot giving chase.
So Liam Draper, he's found his way up to the top step. As of right now, we were able to catch up with Liam earlier this weekend. Let's hear what he has to say about the Powerline Park GNCC.
I mean, the soil is very much like what I ride in PA. It's that hard, slick, barely any traction around, so you're searching for that constantly. And yeah, I just enjoy this place. It's a lot of what I ride mostly, so it's close to the house, and yeah, hopefully we get a little bit of rain. But normally it always rains at this place, so it's weird to see it as dry as it is right now, but yeah, excited.
Feeling right at home now as he finds his way up to the top spot, and there's nothing quite like leading the way, huh, Brandy? That'll make you love the place real quick.
Oh yeah, for sure. If you have good results at one place and you're comfortable, it definitely helps a lot.
He looks comfortable right now as DeLong looking comfortable as well here this weekend. And after that round that he had, we saw a big smile on his face. So a happy Craig DeLong could be a dangerous Craig DeLong.
There's Bukowski, who has now gotten around Josh Strang. We've seen those two pretty much glued together, and now they have both gotten around Ben Kelly. So that is a shakeup. They were not too far behind him, but they have both been able to make the pass here at the 5-mile marker. And there is Reardon, your XC2 leader and overall leader, keep forgetting to mention that, absolutely shredding out there. And we pointed out, looking at the time correction, with an elapsed time of 1 hour 36:50, he has about a 14-second lead over Craig DeLong, which is now Liam Draper. So with the pace those guys are running, last lap, the lead duo of DeLong and Draper were about 9 to 10 seconds faster, respectively, than the overall leader, Reardon. So we could see things continue to tighten up, or Reardon could find another gear and stretch that lead out. We'll see here in just about another 7 miles of racing when they get to the finish line. That's the only way we can get those gaps, is when they check in with the official live timing and scoring. We can kind of estimate them here on screen, and we will do that on the last lap if it comes down to a battle between XC1 and XC2 for the overall, like we're seeing right now. And is that a lap? Yeah, that's a lapped rider in between there. I thought we had potentially seen Stu Baylor back in the mix, but there's Draper, there's DeLong. That is 1 and 2 on track, and 2 and 3 in the overall with our XC2 leader, Gus Reardon, leading the way.
Reardon's lap time about 5 seconds faster than Ben Kelly, so we'll see if he's going to be able to make the move and continue to work his way up through the pack physically. Of course, he is the overall leader right now as far as time goes.
Tell you what, that was Caleb Russell coming by there on the 5.57, and he has made up some time on Stu Baylor. It looks like on screen he was 17 seconds behind when they checked in, and it looked a little bit closer than that to me here at the 6 mile marker, Jackson.
Well, we'll see. We were able to catch up with Caleb Russell. Speaking of him, as he makes his way through, let's talk to him about how things went at the last one.
Yeah, last race was definitely a step in the right direction. Finally was able to find myself in the battle for the win, and eventually, hold off Craig. The last lap, my tire was completely deteriorated at that point. I decided to take a chance. I'm not in it for the championship, so I can kind of try some things out. Obviously, I still want to do well and put myself in position to battle for wins and the podium. But I tried a 91 gummy tire, and it was good when it was good, but it definitely deteriorated really fast. And then it was a little bit of a yo-yo effect with me and Stu and Jordan. I couldn't really keep up with them in the dirt, the stuff that had less rock in it. So overall, I was really pleased with the ride, and ended up on the box. So it's nice to be back up front, and hopefully we can keep the momentum rolling and keep building on some confidence and keep just fighting for wins, really.
Well, there you have it, a former 8-time series champion and the winningest two-wheeled rider of all time. Caleb Russell back with us last season, having a knee injury, riding through that throughout the season, coming back out, and then unfortunately for him, in a crash at the Florida round while battling just off the podium, he ended up re-injuring that knee, sat out a few rounds, but when it came right down to it, was able to rehab the knee, get himself back in position, finished 4th in Kentucky 2 races ago, finished 3rd at Tennessee 2 weeks ago, and now sitting in that number 4 spot again and looking like he might be closing up ground on Stu Baylor for that final podium position.
Johnny, he is an absolute madman. When I was talking earlier about his knees being drained, that was not a joke. That is something that I feel like every race just about. Caleb Russell getting his knees drained, taking out what looks to be quarts of stuff. Man, it's tough. I don't know how he does it. I really don't. And I was able to see his Instagram post this past week where he talked about his heart rate and posted some of that. Johnny, 3 straight hours of 175. It was, I think, like 185 was the max heart rate for him. Amazing to see what Caleb and the entire crew can do. It's not just Caleb that's running heart rates like that. That is the entirety of this XC1 class.
Yeah, there was actually quite a bit of hubbub on the internet many years ago. Caleb Russell posting his heart rate data from a 3-hour race, and it was a very technical track that was very physical, and don't quote me on this, but he averaged over 180 beats per minute for 3 hours, and there was actually some medical professionals that came on there and said, yeah, that's not possible, you need to get yourself a new chest strap, and we see that all the time, even with motocross. They say, you can't possibly hold an average heart rate that high for 30 minutes. Well, these guys, although not quite as high as moto, just the intensity in moto is so much, these guys will hold unreal heart rates for 3 hours. We've talked about it already here on the show. Brandy, is that something you track? Do you wear a fitness watch when you're out there racing?
I do. I look at it every time. Mine's, I'd say 175 to 180, and sometimes at the end of the race, it'll get up to 190 if we're really battling the last lap.
What do you think Corey's heart rate was when she went into that push?
Probably almost hitting 200, man, just on the front wheel. Yeah, it's definitely, it's funny because when you try to replicate that heart rate, like on a bicycle or something, like you almost like can't breathe, you can't talk. But riding, you almost don't notice it. Like it feels normal. Like you don't feel like you're breathing super heavy and just definitely gassed out. So it is interesting to see the data. It's really cool to see, actually.
And I don't have any science behind this, but this is kind of my philosophy. A lot of what elevates that heart rate, yes, they're at a huge effort. You guys are at a huge effort level physically, but also you're having to retrail. If you're running, you're cycling, you're just kind of cruising out there. I liken it more to mountain biking, where you're having to retrain, and pick lines and make all these decisions while you're battling.
It's the mental stimulation. There's so much going on. You're trying not to crash. You're thinking about the race. You're excited that you're in first. You're disappointed you're in third. There's a ton of mental stimulation going on. I think people that don't believe it haven't got out there and raced themselves.
For sure.
Very much so.
All right, well, we're going to throw it to a break real quick. Man, it has been a good one so far. Craig DeLong gassing and going. Liam Draper, man, it would be a big day for him to be able to pick up a win here in Ohio. He finds his way around Stu Baylor there coming off pit row, and before we knew it, he was able to find his way around Craig DeLong and into the top spot. Stu Baylor, after a dramatic last round, he wants that top spot. Will he be able to do it today? We'll be back with more here from the Kenda Powerline Park.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too. That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer. But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? Don't do that.
This reminds me of my bike.
The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a night. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Came here to the ranch, like right when you roll through the gates, everyone kind of says you feel the same thing. This is such a special place.
Welcome to best 42 in the land. All ages from kids up to grown man. Walking the gates of the coal miner's daughter to make a point clearer than the creek water. Who's the best? Who's it gonna be? In Hurricane Mills, Tennessee.
I love coming to Loretta's. This is my family, right?
Really special for me, so a lot of good memories.
Love coming here to Loretta's.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Kenda Powerline Park GNCC here for 2026, round number 7 of the season. In beautiful St. Clairsville, Ohio. They call it Paradise on the Hilltop. We've got our own little slice of paradise here with our Stasic E-Pee-Wee Racing. We put on quite the show here. You see Ricky Towery, he's getting ready to go. The maestro himself, and I was watching Ricky last night. Every single kid that came by, he made sure they got the flag, and that's what makes Ricky Towery. But look at this. This is what makes GNCC racers right here, Zach.
Yeah, no doubt about it. This is one of the most anticipated parts of the GNCC weekend, this Stasic Showdown. Like you said, they pull out all the stops. They got jerseys. They got bar banging action, crashes. You see it all, and the crew here at GNCC does a great job of making this feel just as special as the XC1 Pro Start.
And just like in our XC1 races, a little bit of tears, it happens. you know, there was definitely a few riders hitting the deck out there, but everybody was safe, able to continue on with the race. And this, like I said, one of the standouts of every weekend here at GNCC, weather permitting.
Yes.
But we do these STACYC races, and the kids and parents and fans all out there come out in droves, loving it.
Yeah, you have fans lining the fence for the XC1 race. You have XC1 racers lining the fence oftentimes for the STACYC races. Everybody getting so much enjoyment out of it. Ricky Towery, Griff Cotter, and the whole crew doing such a great job of making it a truly special moment for the kids, the families, and like we said, turning it into, no doubt, one of the most favorite events. Look at this. Marching it across the finish line, getting the job done, that 2:17. That's what it's all about, having a good time out here. A great track this weekend. I saw Jeff Russell out there mowing the lawn like on Thursday or Friday, already scoping it out. And by about midday Friday, they had already burned the race line in. Is burning in a race line right now.
Woo, look at this. Look at this. Stu Baylor has now gotten back around Liam Draper, back up to the number 2 spot. So just like when it looked like he was giving up a little bit of ground, he has now caught back up, gotten around Draper, who was our leader, and Craig DeLong now back to the lead. But look at this. Caleb Russell on a charge and has closed up the gap significantly on the lead 3 in front of him.
Man, things are happening in a hurry right now.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to watch. Russell on the hunt. He starts to realize he's building momentum forward, especially with Caleb. I feel like he's one of those guys, if he realizes he's picking time up, he presses even harder, tries to almost sneak attack on them, don't realize he's coming, and then he's in the fight before you know it.
Well, I noticed in our last camera shot, Mike Witkowski was pretty close to the back of Caleb Russell, but we're waiting and watching here, and unless I missed Witkowski, I was actually just going to say, don't count out Witkowski, but now it is Strang. So did we see Mike Witkowski on the number 8 Phoenix Racing Honda? And look at this now, Stu Baylor to the lead, just kind of maybe playing these boys a little bit like a fiddle. And Draper, if that was Draper there,
yeah, he had lost a lot of time.
He might have been the 3rd rider in shot there. I didn't get a clear view of it, but definitely looked to be the 5:14 of Stu Baylor back to the front. Earlier in the lap had given up quite not only bike lengths but seconds to Craig DeLong and also Liam Draper, but now back out front, the 5:14 machine charging, opening up a bit of a gap now over the 3:42 of DeLong, and that was not Draper. So it looks like Draper has given up a little bit of time here. Yeah, he has lost some serious ground in just a short section of racetrack, now in the number 3 spot. When we went to our little break there, he was our leader, now back to 3rd, and Stu Baylor on a charge, taking over the lead.
Things changing in a hurry here at the front of the field as the top 3 continue to duke it out atop the XC1 class.
Baylor, DeLong. 198 of Draper should be coming here. We'll have to watch and see the gap. Draper threw a 2:02.20 there.
Still looking like he's on a charge, though. I mean,
definitely losing some ground, though. You better watch out. Here comes the 5.57 machine of Russell.
17 seconds at the beginning of the lap, now down to 6 seconds. Caleb Russell in the number 4 spot and has made up about 11 seconds on the leaders through a few miles of racetrack there. He is on an absolute charge. That is a dangerous man when he sees the front of the field.
Yeah, he's kicking it up from zone 4 to zone 5 on the heart rate. He's going to start marching his way forward because no question now he's going to get some glimpses of Liam Draper in front of him.
So it could be a battle of the Ampro Yamahas coming up here very shortly if Russell can continue to charge forward. This is what I was talking about. You never know when a guy like Russell is going to come up and get himself into the fight. There's Josh Strang. He's got himself up into the fight, running in a good spot here today.
So confirmed, we have lost Mike Witkowski from that 5th place spot, and now it is actually his teammate, Gus Reardon, who is in 6th place physically on track. We'll see if he is still leading the way. And Ben Kelly, 7th physically on track, 6th in that XC1 class.
So he was able to make that move, Johnny.
Yeah, something happening there with Witkowski, giving up several physical positions on the racetrack, was up into the number 5 spot. And in that camera shot back at about the 6-mile marker was not at all far off of Caleb Russell. So Witkowski has had a mishap here and given up some time, but this rider is taking advantage of some time, making up ground on Craig DeLong and Liam Draper, now taking over the lead for the 2nd time in the race, but it looks like Craig DeLong is hanging on by his fingertips, trying to hang with Stu Baylor here with what will be 4 laps complete. And guys, we have not, unless I missed it, we have not gotten confirmation if we're looking at a 5 or a 6 lap race. If we do 5 laps, it's going to be short. If we do 6 laps, it's going to be long. We'll wait and see what race control has come up with. We'll ask our producer, Adam Gordon, if we have gotten word on the radio, but we are told we do not yet know. So we may see a 2-lap board, or we may see nothing. We'll get the information when they come through here in just a couple of miles. But here it is, the battle for the lead on screen. Stu Baylor out front, Craig DeLong about 5 seconds back in the number 2 spot. About another 7 to 10 seconds back is Liam Draper, and just behind Draper, Caleb Russell in the number 4 spot.
Hey guys, just got a quick update. Sounds like Mike Wachowski down with an injured shoulder, so it looks like he is out of this one. Went down somewhere between the 8 and 9 mile mark.
Bummer for Wachowski and that Phoenix Racing Honda team. He was starting to look strong, building momentum here on lap number 3. Was up almost inside the top 5, or was inside the top 5 physically, and was gaining ground on the leaders. A mishap putting him down, and what sounds like a shoulder injury is going to end the day here for Wachowski.
3 laps in the book. And watching as Stu Baylor tries to power down. Saw some early patience and confidence from Baylor, literally waving Craig DeLong by, letting him dictate the pace, and then Baylor just kind of set in the hooks. Seems like he bided his time, and then all of a sudden decided, hey, I got to get going. Liam Draper was up in that fight as well, so Baylor drops the hammer, puts himself back in the number 1 spot.
So there's Baylor. There is DeLong. This is the section coming to our pro pits where these riders would stop if they need anything. We may see Craig DeLong. And the other thing with DeLong, we did see him drop back and lose that position. Is it possible he has already received those new goggles that look like he was motioning for and requesting, or will we see a stop at the Rockstar Racing Husqvarna pits here in just a few more corners for some clear vision for the 342 of DeLong? What looked to be a little bit of a mishap with the goggles in the pits when they fueled does not look like he is planning on hitting for goggles, so he either rectified that problem himself or potentially got goggles out on the course. And there is Draper now. He's closed up the gap a little bit to DeLong in the number 2 spot. And that was Caleb Russell right there. He looked like he got some water on his back from his wife Chandler there, so he can now see for the first time here in that pro pit section, he can see the leaders on track in front of him.
And this is what we mean when we say a dangerous Caleb Russell. Now he's got the ability to spot. He saw what he's got in front to work with, and I think he knows that gap is shrinking rapidly. So be expecting a push from the 557. Meanwhile, the question is whether Gus Reardon is going to hang on to that overall lead as we watch Craig DeLong here on your Yamaha Racing Live drone.
It's going to be close, I believe, with between Baylor and Reardon for that overall on time correction with 4 laps complete. We still have a little bit of racetrack left before we'll get those official check-ins, but the gap has definitely widened. It looked like Reardon had about 14 seconds to work with a lap ago, and the pace of the leaders looking to be just a little bit higher right now. I think it's going to be close.
So we're going to come down through the wire. Meanwhile, on your screen, Gus Reardon, the Phoenix Racing Honda team cheering him on.
Little hand motion to the team there. Don't know what that pit board said, but he looked like he was pretty pumped up about it. We'll see what his lead is in that XC2 class. It was 1 minute and 15 seconds over Brody Johnson, but Jason Tino has actually made the pass, or had made the pass last camera shot we had, and taken over the number 2 spot, starting to charge, trying to close up that gap. But with 1 minute and 15 seconds, he better get a move on.
Johnny, I noticed the Ampro Yamaha throwing a ton of water on Caleb when he was making his way through. Is that something that Caleb likes to have?
Look at this here. This is Jeff Russell, our executive trail boss, and he has the watch on making the decision. Looks like they are going to put the 2-lap board out. So it will be a 6-lap race. So they were potentially between the white flag and the 2-lap board, looking at the watch, making the decision. This one is going to go long.
So there it is.
Stu Baylor in, boys.
Looking at the time, guys, Stu Baylor there, and now Craig DeLong has checked in. Now Draper is closed up right to the rear wheel there of Craig DeLong. There is a time frame for the race, and looking at the lap times, I believe they would have come up about 2 minutes short of the suggested time or required time, whatever the verbiage is. I don't read the rule book or memorize it anyway. Caleb Russell now checked in the number 4 spot, 14 seconds behind Liam Draper, who's only 2 seconds behind Craig DeLong. But I believe, well, it sounds like our producer Adam Gordon can actually look that rule up and read it to us. But that's what that clock was doing there, was making the decision is, are we going to make the minimum time requirement, or do we need to run this one a little bit long? Looking at time here now, 2 hours and 9 minutes into this one, 2:08.5 is when Stu Baylor checked in. Running lap times of about 31 minutes would mean another hour. So 2 hours and 40 minutes is what the stated minimum requirement is. So it would have come up just a little bit short of that potentially. Now with 2 hours and 8 minutes, looking at about an hour and 2 minutes of remaining racing, meaning this one should go around the 3:10 mark. So better to go 10 over rather than be more than 20 minutes short.
And for some of our amateur racers, that means about 4.5 hours.
There are some people seeing Ricky Towery going, you are joking right now.
So more riders checking in here at the finish line. Reardon, of course, following back to the 4th place spot.
Yes, and he has checked in, so he is outside the top 3 now, but still ahead of Caleb Russell by about 11 seconds. So sitting in that number 4 spot overall with a lap time of 31:56. But look at this. The lap time for Stu Baylor, a 31:22, which was what we saw Caleb Russell the fastest lap the lap before this lap. It's Stu Baylor with that same lap time, 31:22, fastest rider on track.
There you see it on your screen. OPAG pulling up our lap times the last time through.
Baylor on top, DeLong and Draper there at that 35.
And you can see the tail of the tape there for Reardon turning a 31:56.
Josh Strang, a solid lap time there, as he has now worked his way around Ben Kelly and into the number 6 spot overall, 5th in that XC1 class, 42 seconds behind Caleb Russell. Josh Strang sitting there, a couple of the veterans of the class there in 5th and 6th place overall, 4th and 5th in XC1. There is your leader, Baylor, throwing a little bit of moto style.
I like
looking good.
And opening up the gap over Craig DeLong, the 342 machine, giving chase, but right now not able to match the pace of Baylor. And Draper back there getting a little kick.
Yeah, dropping that front end down just a bit. Able to keep it on 2 wheels. So 2 hours and 11 minutes into this race so far, and it has been non-stop action as Caleb Russell makes his way through the mile 1 marker. See if Caleb is going to be able to close in on our top 3 here on this lap.
Well, right now it's 2nd and 3rd that need to try to close back in on Stu Baylor, as we've seen this already once today. It looked like Baylor was marching away, and then Draper and DeLong both able to run him down. Baylor actually, I don't know if you'd say waving by DeLong, but pointing him by when DeLong had a drive, and now he has rebounded, regrouped, and taken over the lead position and starting to stretch it out front.
No doubt about it, as Stu Baylor continues to push forward. Taking a look back here more at the 1 mile mark.
There is Strang in the number 5 spot in XC1, 6th overall. Looking at those overall amateur riders, getting ready to check in for what will be 4 laps complete for those riders. And also, look at this now. Looks like Jordan Ashburn has made up a spot. He has gotten around Witkowski. Witkowski had that shoulder injury, so that bumps Jordan Ashburn up into the number 11 spot overall as they run on track, meaning he would be gaining 10 points in that championship, where he currently carries a 16-point lead coming into the day today.
Every little bit going to help, no doubt about it. Got to win the championship on your bad days. And right now, Ashburn trying to do just that.
With Draper running in the number 3 spot, he would not take over the points lead. He would be just a few points behind Jordan Ashburn. So managing the race, managing the points on what is, for unknown reasons, a tough day for Jordan Ashburn, running in that number 11 spot. Not a custom where we're seeing him running, but off the strength of 2 back-to-back wins, stretching out that points lead to 16 points. He's in a position right now to manage it. Did you see that kick from Craig DeLong?
A big one.
Can't say he is not still just absolutely going for it.
Hard on the throttle, straightens it back out. and never letting up. Look at this gap that Stu Baylor is beginning to form here, getting out of sight of Craig DeLong. Talking about good days and bad days, there's a few of our riders out there right now having a bad day, and such as Jack Walker coming into today. Jack had 135 points, sitting just 6 points ahead of Jason Tino, who sits with 129 points. Tino able to get the last 2 wins, and Walker, he needed the points that he would have gotten here today, no doubt.
Yeah, battle of survival at the top of that XC2 class here in 2026. Hopefully Jack going to be okay and back with us here in just a few quick weeks.
Waiting and watching here for the 514 of Baylor, and just on cue coming out, popping into that field hard on the throttle line, that Red Bear Rocky Mountain ATV MC Kawasaki. Waiting on the Rockstar Energy Racing Husqvarna of Craig DeLong in the number 2 spot, giving chase, giving up the lead just about a half a lap ago to Stu Baylor. DeLong on a charge trying to track him back down, but right now Baylor able to stretch it out just little by little, each camera shot, each corner, seeming like he's gaining just a few bike lengths.
Yeah, you see DeLong kind of spotting ahead, wanting to get an idea exactly where Stu's at. Still close enough, but definitely would like to close this back in a fair bit.
Take a look at how much gray we have on the side of our screen there. A ton of our A-class riders going for it here today, sitting inside not only the top 20, but a couple sitting inside the top 15.
Yeah, Cooper Jones overtaking that top amateur spot the last time through.
Well, Jakes hasn't checked in yet.
Still waiting on Fustini. You're right, I keep forgetting. So he's got a bit of time, and we'll see where the 511 ride slots in at.
He has. Now Jakes has checked in with 4 laps complete, and Cooper Jones has just eclipsed him on a lap's time by 1 second for that overall amateur position.
So Cooper Jones, Jakes Fustini 12 and 13. James Jenkins, Hunter Smith, Colton Shields, Carson Wood, and Collier Martinez all in the backside of your top 20.
A battle between the brothers in that overall amateur. Cole Whitmer in the number 22 spot, and Lane Whitmer 23, separated by just about 10 seconds. All right, back to our Yamaha Racing Live drone. Leaders on screen. Got some lap traffic coming through. Those riders taking a look over their shoulder. Very fast moving motorcycles coming their way as the leaders are putting them a lap down here. Stu Baylor leading the way. Craig DeLong in the number 2 spot. Liam Draper 3rd. 4th overall and leader of the XC2 class. Gus Reardon on that Phoenix Racing Honda checking in on that gap. It is Jason Tino in the number 2 spot. 1 minute. No, sorry. Brody Johnson made the pass back, 1 minute and 38 seconds behind, so giving up even more time on lap number 4. And Jason Tino in the number 3 spot in XC2 and 9th overall, 9.2 seconds behind Brody Johnson. So that battle rages on.
Yeah, that's the table for 2 on the backside of the XC2 podium. Brody Johnson and Jason Tino going at it. Meanwhile, we watch and wait here on the Yamaha Racing Live drone. Round 7. We're officially on the back half of the 2026 season.
Yeah, we're past the hour-and-a-half mark, halfway, more than halfway through this one, with the 2-lap card coming out when they cross the finish line after 4 laps complete, meaning a 6-lap race here today. There is your leader on screen. Baylor out front, grabbing the lead a few miles ago and starting to open up a gap over Craig DeLong, Liam Draper, Gus Reardon on corrected time, Caleb Russell, Josh Strang, Ben Kelly, and the rest.
So watching Stu.
Ooh, little miscue there. It looked like it went a little wide in that corner. Pushing the pace just shows how hard Baylor is trying to continue to open up that gap.
And still sending it, catching air off some of these rollers. Baylor feeling feisty here today.
Over that stump at the 5-mile marker, Baylor will see what the gap is. There is DeLong in the number 2 spot. He has now opened it up a little bit over Draper in the number 3 spot.
Man, Draper really having that machine covered in mud. That's what we saw here all weekend. I guess it's just a few little sections of little creek crossing or two that's doing it.
Now it looks like Caleb Russell was 14 seconds behind Draper when they checked in for the 2-lap cart. Now down to about 8 seconds behind. So he's made up a little bit of ground in that battle for the final podium position.
Continuing to watch from our FMF PowerPoint. One of our amateur riders making their way through. And another one of our amateur riders waiting on the next of our pro class riders.
Should be the number 7 of Josh Strang on that Liqui Moly Factory Beta. Solid ride for the freight train here in the number 6 spot overall. Charging, and I believe that was Strang there. So 5th in XC1, 6th overall. Josh Strang charging here, stirring late in the race, trying to make up some ground, get himself into a battle for the top 5 overall with his Aussie countryman, Gus Reardon, who sits on track about 45 seconds ahead of him. So he's got some time to make up on Reardon. But Reardon, you have to wonder, now that he falls outside that podium position as he comes through here with the XC2 lead, does the focus shift and start to think, hey, you know, we're in this championship battle, especially with the struggles today for Jack Walker, and it potentially leaves him a little bit of an opportunity to make up some much needed ground in that championship battle for that XC2 class. So do you risk it for the biscuit, keep going for that overall podium, or do you keep the bird in hand and take that class win if it continues to go the way that it is now?
Hey, that might have been what was on the pit board, just how far ahead he was of second place.
Yeah, 1 minute and 38 seconds is the gap right now in that XC2 class, with Reardon leading the way, Johnson in the number 2 spot, and Tino rounding out your podium in that XC2 class. Here is Liam Draper sitting in the 3rd place spot. Worth mentioning, folks, we've seen a lot of water being thrown on these riders, a lot of hydration bottles, showing just how warm it is here this afternoon. And the little pit bull, Caleb Russell, just keeps fighting, closing up that gap on Liam Draper.
Yeah, right as it kind of seemed like the gap had maintained, wasn't making any ground up. Seems like he picked up a 10th or 2 there.
The little pit bull.
He's not very tall.
So if he gets it, can we advance him up to a normal size if he's able to pull something off today?
Only if he hits a growth spurt.
We'll have to get him a bigger set of boots, throw a little hill on there.
Waiting and watching. Josh Strang, the next rider, should be coming through here at mile marker number 6 in that 5th place spot in XC1. Pointing it out, you know, later in his career, Josh Strang, double duty, also the team manager for that Liqui Moly Factory Beta team, but right now flying the flag. Cody Barnes likely not watching at home, but maybe he is, obviously out from an injury at Kentucky, ultimately having to have surgery on that broken neck, had some, I don't know what the official terminology is, but damage to vertebrae, opting to go with surgery, saying it would offer a better path to recovery. So Josh Strang really flying the flag in that XC1 class for Beta, and unfortunately flying the flag for the whole team now with the departure of Jack Walker from our race from the number 2 spot in that XC2 class. Behind this rider on screen, Gus Reardon leading the way on that Phoenix Racing Honda.
Believe it or not, that was actually the first official update that I had gotten on him, so I'm sure he is watching at home. I'm sure he's watching Josh right now, tearing it up.
Hard to watch the races when you're home.
Yeah,
injured.
No doubt.
A lot of riders will just kind of check the results or not even want to hear about it at all. Cody riding well, had himself a podium earlier in the season on the new team and the new machine. We'll wish him a speedy recovery and hope to see him back out here racing maybe after summer break. I haven't got an update on that, so I'm just speculating, not stating anything that I know.
Well, we know he'll be back. That's the thing. Matter of time, but we know he'll be back in full effect. Here we go, Stu Baylor, speaking of full effect, he's in it right now. Trying to stretch out this lead. He's been able to get over to Long and Draper.
Yeah, we knew Stu was going to carry a lot of enthusiasm into this round. And
enthusiasm, that's a good word for it.
Yeah, put it to good use right now. And I mean, I think this is exactly how Stu should use that enthusiasm. Let your bike do the talking, make the statements you want to be made here on the course, and leave no other options available. But that's what comes along with it. Don't let him fool you. He is still on that razor's edge pushing out front.
Stu Baylor, very enthusiastic, very animated. And after the last race, had some discrepancies about some things. We referenced it on Racer TV. Ultimately, the results stood as they were. Jordan Ashburn taking the win, Stu in the number 2 spot. And today, looking like he's on a mission to prove that he is a multi-time race winner here in 2026, already having won the round earlier, round 3 at Talladega in the mud, being the only overall winner there after 2 years completed there, grabbing the win both times through and looking to back it up with another win here today at Powerline.
Well, it's getting interesting now, just about 2.5 hours into what we now know will be a 6-lap race. How is it all going to shake out? We're through the pits once again. You see Stu Baylor fired back up, fired the Kawasaki back to the top of the field, is now trying to run away from Craig DeLong, Liam Draper, and can't forget about Caleb Russell either. We're going to have more GNCC racing action when we come back right here live on Racer TV.
Don't let waiting in line for service sideline your machine. Eliminate the wait and save money by doing it yourself. AMSOIL makes it simple with oil change kits that include exactly what you need in one convenient package. Choosing the right kit is also simple. Just plug your ride into the Shop by Vehicle tool at AMSOIL.com and have your kit delivered right to your door. Get the protection you demand and the performance you deserve. Order now at AMSOIL.com.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda tires. Delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles. Automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
Family values and a homegrown work ethic. Cometic Gasket seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best inside their engine. Cometic Gaskets are always constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environments. Whether it's a championship on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts alike depend on Cometic. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back here to round 7. Taking a look at beautiful St. Clairsville, Ohio on the National Road, and a lot of history on that road, a lot of history right here as well. Jackson, 51 years now in 2026 of GNCC racing, celebrating 50 years all of last year, and had our very own film crew making their way through for a full-length film, Blackwater as we like to call it. We have another sneak preview for you right here on Racer TV.
In 1975, a small town in West Virginia named Davis was the site of a revolution because it's there that promoter Big Dave Koontz and his family put on an off-road motorcycle race, the likes of which the world had never seen before. It was called the Blackwater 100, but known simply as America's toughest race. And it gave birth to what is now known as the Grand National Cross Country Racing Series, the largest off-road racing series in the world. 50 years of history means 50 years of characters in the trenches, creating a legacy. And there's a feature film coming with stories like this.
I really enjoy when the guys come over from Moto to see what we do. You get to hear their respect for what we do, and it's good. It's definitely good to see, because I 100% respect what they do. These guys are slow, staying low, driving through transitions. They're 1 inch from clipping something and being really bad. And then they're also saying the same thing about roots, and they're saying they're 1 inch from clipping a tree in a root and doing something really bad. And it's just a completely different outlook on I guess the elements of riding your dirt bike.
I'm Jason Wygant, and I hope you'll join us in celebrating the history of the Blackwater 100 and GNCC racing as we anticipate the motorcycle movie event of the decade. We'll see you at the theater.
Guys, I am fired up for that one. Blackwater the movie, make sure to check it out online. See if you're going to have any viewings close to you. Going to be coming out later this fall. It's going to be a fun one, Zach.
Yeah, I cannot wait. Already got it circled, blackwaterthemovie.com, to get more information. Like Jackson said, find out if it's in a theater near you. Going to be a ton of fun to see the true history of GNCC right there on the big screen.
Yeah, seeing some comments yesterday about some riders that rode in it for almost every year that it was. They're excited for the movie to come out. We're all excited. And speaking of excited, I do believe that was Baylor passing by right there.
It was 10-mile marker. Stu Baylor working his way towards a white flag and continuing, it seems, to open up the gap over the 342 of DeLong. Baylor setting a torrid pace here on lap number 5. He's taken over the lead just before the 2-lap board came out, and now look at the gap that he has opened up. 342 of DeLong still in the number 2 spot. The heat likely becoming a factor here for sure. And now we wait and watch for the 198 of Draper.
Oh, what's going on? Where is he? There he is now, popping into view. So it's going to be about evenly spaced out now with some big gaps. Look at this. This is not a big gap, though. As Johnny called him, the baby pit bull is about to get lockjaw.
Whoa, little pit bull. I didn't say baby pit bull.
Little pit bull. There we go. There we go. Baby little. Nonetheless, he's about to sink his jaws into Liam Draper just ahead of him. We'll see what he can do. It's going to be a battle of the Ampro Yamahas. Caleb Russell, you tell me, Johnny, is there anybody else in the class that's been racing longer than Caleb Russell has in GNCC? Josh Strang, maybe?
Josh Strang would have been, I believe, in XC1 before Caleb Russell. But Caleb Russell, as far as GNCC time from his amateur days and youth days, has been out here most of his life, even going back to a youth rider. But with 8 championships and 60 some odd wins, I always forget the number, but definitely the most accomplished GNCC rider, not only in the field, but in history on the motorcycle side of racing.
Yeah, so there's no doubt about it. He's got the skills to pay the bill, as that man does as well. Josh Strang making his way by. But Caleb Russell, he's definitely a vet in this class. He's going to know what it's going to take to get around somebody like Liam Draper. We'll see if he's able to do it.
Yeah, and Josh Strang, again, a very strong ride here today in that 5th place spot in XC1. Was 6th overall last lap. We'll see how that shakes out. He had about a 45-second, give or take, gap to make up over Gus Reardon, and that was your leader on screen. That's a lapped rider there, but Stu Baylor, 26 seconds ahead of Craig DeLong, leading the way here in this one. And there is your XC2 leader, Gus Reardon, now at the 10-mile marker, a little bit further behind. 1 minute and 38 seconds was the gap over the 2nd place rider of Brody Johnson when they checked in with the 2-lap board in hand for Ricky Towery. We'll see the tail of the tape of that one here in just a few minutes as we're starting to head our way towards the finish line, and a white flag waving in the hands of Ricky Towery with a 26-second gap. You've got to believe that Stu Baylor right now has done enough to open up a gap, break the spirit of the riders behind him. Does he have this race won? No, but he has it well in hand.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. That might be insurmountable time right there for the rest of the crew. We'll see if they're able to pull something off and catch back up to Stu Baylor. At this point, though, it looks like it's going to be Stu's race to lose.
Here is DeLong. That is your 2nd place rider. He has opened up a bit of a gap also over the 198 of Draper. Now to the 11-mile marker. Baylor sliding his Kawasaki machine around that corner with a comfortable lead over DeLong in the number 2 spot. Draper in 3rd and Russell in 4th.
Okay, before I throw out the pit bull line, can we meet in the middle? I said baby, you said little. Why don't we go with short pit bull?
That works. Pitbull is one thing that probably isn't up for debate. This guy
No doubt.
also short in stature, but strong on the track today. Craig DeLong leading much of this race in the number 2 spot at the moment, just not quite able to latch on to Stu Baylor when he was passed at near the end of lap number 4. And Baylor stretching it out. Look at this. This is a wheel-to-wheel battle now between the Ampro teammates. Caleb Russell in 4th, Liam Draper 3rd at the moment. That is the battle for the final podium position.
Y'all call him what you want. I'm calling him the big dog because he's barking right now on the back of Liam Draper. And this could be a big swing. Final charge coming for Caleb Russell here as they get ready to approach the white flag.
It looks like to me Draper is definitely going to be on the defense right now. He was hugging on that inside right here at our camera shot, and it looks like it's going to be a matter of time before Russell is able to pull the trigger and get himself into a podium spot now.
The last few camera shots to me, it looked like both DeLong and Draper laboring a bit late in this one, knowing that it's going to go over the 3-hour mark, looking at about 3 hours, 10 minutes by estimated time, maybe 3:11. And it's warm out there. You know, we're here in the Racer TV studios, the hot box, as we like to call it, and we're feeling the effects of it. And all we're having to do is talk, look at a TV screen. We've even got a little fan blowing on us. We've got cold waters. These guys have been out there now for 2.5 hours with what we've referenced earlier in the show, incredibly high heart rates, full push ahead. They are definitely feeling the effects here late in this one. But Josh Strang in that number 5 spot, still charging, trying to make up ground on the riders ahead of him, also trying to make up time correction on Gus Reardon, our XC2 leader, see if he can't displace him and bump himself up to that 5th place spot in the overall running order.
So here we go, continuing to watch as more of our riders traverse this mile 11 section. Camera's doing a great job. I believe that is Reardon making his way through. Doesn't quite capture just how off camber a lot of this is as well, Jackson. So many of the sections here on this course at a pretty steep angle. The camera didn't quite do it justice.
No, it doesn't, and that's what's helping a lot of these deep ruts be able to form too. They're really able to throw those machines in it. Here we go. Take a look at just even that berm going up that hill right there. You can see just how much, a lot of it being formed by the ATVs, but the bike's really digging into it. And take a look at this, everybody. Damn Pro Yamahas, that's a shift right there. That is not what it's been. And Caleb Russell has now been able to overtake the 3rd place physical position.
And look at the gap he opened up in literally just about 10 corners of racetrack. So you have to wonder if there was potentially Liam Draper made a mistake, or is he really feeling the effects of the heat and a very rough racetrack here today? Temps hovering in the low to mid 80s out there, but when you have all that riding gear on, you're pushing the pace. 80 feels like about 100.
Well, and we saw just a little bit ago how much the team was focusing on trying to throw some water on the back of Caleb Russell, trying to keep these riders cool, and something like that can be a big difference maker as far as kind of reinvigorating your riders late in these motos.
And even just over the last few hours, just before this race started, it started getting much warmer outside. I was talking to the Race for TV crew about it. It really got hot in a hurry here, and it's probably warmed up even since these guys have took off a good bit.
I don't know if we've missed Stu Baylor here at this shot or if we're going to see him coming out. I don't know exactly how long this wood section is. Didn't pedal the track myself. There is DeLong, so it is the number 2 ride. DeLong there, now starting to fall back into the grasp of a charging Caleb Russell, who is up now into a podium position for the first time today, starting last and working his way through the field. A familiar sight for Caleb here the last couple races, but this man right here getting the word of what his gap is most likely on that board, and we'll see a white flag waving here in about another mile of racetrack. Baylor heading towards a white flag waving, and there is DeLong. That is the lead. 26 seconds, I believe, is what our producer Adam Gordon, OPAG, let us know just a few moments ago. Looking like DeLong not yet able to make up any time. And Baylor working his way towards the finish line. DeLong taking a look over, taking a sip from some of that onboard hydration, wearing a waist hydration pack. And we'll take a look back here and wait and watch. 5:57 of Caleb Russell. Looks like some of the Ampro team members there standing at the inside of the corner with some water to potentially try to cool down the core body temperature.
And there it is, a splash of water on the back of Caleb Russell as he heads down pit road. Getting several, I'm sure a few more of the team members going to be up there.
Liam Draper also taking water down the back, trying to cool himself down as he had lost a position to Russell there just about a half a mile ago.
Ditching the water bottle just then as well, Johnny, so must have got a little bit of hydration over those past few turns. Here we go, back up to Stu Baylor now. Able to hop right over that section of ruts. That was silky smooth. So 4 laps in the books at what we expect to be a 6-lap race here in St. Clairsville, Ohio for round number 7. The Kenda Powerline Park GNCC. Who's going to take home the big win? Here we go, getting ready now to check back in at the finish line. Ricky Towery, he has that white flag locked and loaded. Looking for Stu Baylor.
Josh Strang now through the VP Fuels Pro Row. See his wife Cameron there cheering him on in the 5th place spot in XC1. White flag waving in the hands of Ricky Towery, and Stu Baylor one more trip around this Kenda Powerline Park, blowing up that berm and leading the way here in this one, looking to get his 2nd win of 2026 with an inspired ride here late in this one, folks.
Yeah, you could see the desire there for Stu Baylor right from the jump, making some quick moves. And oh, look at that. Look at this. Wow. We have got to get a replay of that. That was one of the coolest things I've seen here at GNCC. A no-handed pit stop there from Gus Reardon. I'm sure our crew will get this fired back up here. Johnny, this was incredible. This is confidence. Take a look at this. No hands, no problems for Gus Reardon. Still takes the time to get the goggles on. I mean, can't draw it up much better than that, Johnny.
Well, to me, that says still charging, trying to get himself back in the mix for a podium position here. Had fallen just outside the top 3 overall. Looks like Russell has now checked in, DeLong as well. And those gaps, 29 seconds back now is DeLong behind Baylor, and 21 seconds behind DeLong. Russell there in the 3rd place spot, and 5.8 seconds behind Russell. Draper in the number 4 spot.
Sorry, Johnny, go ahead.
No, we'll have to wait a minute to see when Reardon and Josh Strang check in exactly how that one shakes out over that 5th place spot overall.
Nice little line there from Stu, straightening that out.
Flashing back forward here to Stu Baylor. Waiting for Reardon still. Shouldn't be much longer, and he'll check in. We'll see where he's going to be able to get himself up in this overall chart. And at this point, still not checking in, Johnny, so they're going to assume not going to pick up many. Not going to pick up many, if any, at this point.
So looking at the lap times, we may get them on screen here in a moment while we wait for Baylor, but a 31:05 for Stu Baylor, and here he comes. Oh, that is one of his crew members letting those riders know leaders are coming through. 31:30 for Craig DeLong, so there you go. That's where that 29-second gap came from. So 25 seconds faster for Stu Baylor on that lap, and then Caleb Russell with the 31:35, 5 seconds slower than Craig DeLong. Liam Draper with the 31:55, 20 seconds slower than Caleb Russell. So that was a bit of an off lap for Liam Draper. Will he be able to remount a charge and fight back over that final podium position, or will things continue to trend the way they are? Again, more lapped riders getting the word from that Kawasaki Team Green team member there, letting them know leaders are coming, preparing them, and there is your leader, Stu Baylor, up into the air, doing a little moto whip there we saw earlier in the race, jumping over that access road and leading the way here in this one.
Stu Baylor looking techie here in this section, able to double his way through, landing in that rut, just leans right through it. That's picture perfect. Sounds like 28 seconds going to be the gap now between Baylor and DeLong. OPAG and the Racer TV crew getting some estimated gaps there. Here we go. There's Craig now making his way through on screen, trying to keep that machine low, get the power to the ground.
Well, and once again, even in this section here at mile 1, you can just see it seems like we talk about finding that flow. This is a perfect example. You saw Stu Baylor come through. He wasn't fighting the bike. It seemed like he was working with the terrain, hopping and skipping off of some of these, creating jumps that aren't even meant to be there. Meanwhile, DeLong still on the charge, maybe even carrying more speed, but just looks like he's having to hang on and fight a lot more. Caleb Russell making his way through, gets a big kick through that section as well.
Liam Draper looking like now he has picked up the pace and matching his AmPro Yamaha teammate there from the number 4 spot, just a few seconds behind. So that battle over the final podium position looks like it will continue through this final lap of racing.
Going to be a good one. Going to be a fight between the AmPro Yamahas, the way things are shaking up. And now as Angus Reardon does check in, he will solidly hold on to that 5th overall spot just ahead of Josh Strang.
About 28 seconds is the margin that Reardon is hanging over Josh Strang there. So it was 45 down to about 28. So Strang a little bit faster that lap. Looking at those lap times, Strang with a 32 flat and Reardon with a 32.25. So that is one of the, you're kind of right there in that range of that could come down to the wire between those two for that 5th place overall position at the end of this one. But Reardon still waiting on 2nd place in that XC2 class. Will it be Brody Johnson? Will it be Jason Tino? Now it looks like, nope, still Tino. Oh, Brody Johnson has checked in now, 1 minute 46 seconds behind in the number 2 spot.
Wow. Reardon really getting with it now, at least as far as the XC2 lead goes.
And Jason Tino checked in 3rd in XC2 and 32 seconds behind Brody Johnson. So a great ride for Brody Johnson today on that Racecraft Racing Husqvarna team. Seeing him back on the podium today after a rough couple of rounds, I'm sure that will be a welcome sight for Brody and his team.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Watching here from the live drone on what is a very dry section of racetrack. Seeing Stu Baylor back on screen. So continuing to watch for the live drone, should be expecting Craig DeLong here any second, popping out of the woods.
Worth mentioning, Jordan Ashburn checked in that number 11 spot overall. So that will be would be 10 overall points for him. So with Draper now dropping to that number 4 spot and DeLong up to 2nd, it'd be 25 points for DeLong. It would still be, if things finish as they run, Jordan Ashburn leaving here with that reverse color leader's number plate as the points leader, but that gap will tighten up significantly if things finish as they run right now here today.
Yeah, no, it's just still not sure what exactly has went on with Ashburn. Just seems to not be quite his day, but nonetheless a day of maintaining, Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what issues he may be experiencing out there. Looked strong early, was up in the mix for a podium position, even battling for the lead at points or in the lead group. And now that he's fallen back, kind of stabilized there in that 12th, now 11th place overall position. You got to believe just managing the gap and trying to get himself some valuable points here today, knowing that he is the points leader. Don't know if it was issues coming into the day that he was experiencing. I had heard rumors of a crash during the week, but whatever the issue is, he's doing a great job out there to manage to get himself, as it runs right now, 10 points here. There is DeLong at the 3-mile marker in that number 2 spot. Next up should be the battle between the FMF AmPro teammates of Caleb Russell sitting in 3rd and Liam Draper just a few seconds behind in the number 4 spot.
Johnny, I don't know how well you got to see Stu Baylor coming through that section, but absolutely flying, it seemed like. Doesn't seem like he's letting up one bit. No. Trying to bring this one all the way down.
Yeah, there is Draper still. You can see his teammate in front of him there, so that battle not yet over.
There he is back on screen. One of the AmPro Yamaha riders, the 557 machine. Nice baby blue helmet, like the helmet that they've got here this weekend.
Lapped rider in between, but Russell in 3rd and Draper giving chase, knowing those are valuable championship points on track in front of him in the form of the pass of his teammate Caleb Russell there. The top 4 positions paying bonus points, but it's 30 for a win, 25 for 2nd, 21 for 3rd, and then drops down to 18 points for a 4th place finish.
So there it is, the 557 machine back on screen. And there's Liam Draper. The battle is still alive here in this one between the AmPro Yamahas. This is, like Johnny's been saying, this is for a podium spot here, so neither one of those guys there are not going to back down. Speaking of cool helmets, Liam Draper, the whole Am-Pro Yamaha, they've always got some cool stuff going on, but right now they're focused on some cool podium speeches, I'm sure. Question is, who's going to be up there talking about it? Russell or Draper?
Well, speaking of podium celebrations and custom helmets, Stu Baylor known to get crazy with his helmet designs, and he is looking crazy fast out front at the moment. There he is. Continuing to push forward. I mean, this is, I feel like we say it when we see Stu in these scenarios, and we say it a lot because he's often in these scenarios, but if this is the Stu that we could have at all times, it'd be hard to not say that he'd be one of the favorites for the title. It's just a matter of things happening, some in control, in his control, some out of his control, but when Baylor's on, he is certainly fun to watch.
No doubt, something we've talked about a lot is just how many wins Stu Baylor has. I've not checked it as of lately, but well in the 20s as far as race wins go, and that is well ahead of most of our riders that have championships that are currently racing. He is by far the most winning GNCC rider that has not got a championship. And I know that's what he has his sights set. I've even heard as much as possibly in seasons to come, just racing one series to try to, this series just to try to get that elusive GNCC championship.
Well, and when we talk about Stu Baylor being out of this championship fight, mathematically, he's not just yet. I mean, there is still a mathematical possibility it would take an extraordinary amount of misfortune for a number of riders, not just one or two, to get him back up in the mix. But the most you can do if you're in the situation that Stu Baylor's in is win races.
Yep.
And that's max points. So with the season that he's had, obviously sitting back there in the 6th place spot with 73 points, that is a big gap to climb to try to get himself up to with the 126 of Jordan Ashburn. Quickest way to do that is to earn 30 points every time you go to the racetrack, which is what he's looking to do here today.
Yeah, they start stacking up big time. Craig DeLong, like we said, not far in that 4th place spot behind a top 3 overall. So plenty to fight for and plenty of racing still to go in the series. Like we said, just now approaching past the halfway mark. One rider not going to help the aerodynamics at all.
A little bit of extra airflow to the engine.
At least you don't have to look for the shroud.
I'd say possibly finding himself a tree out there today. Hey, but it seems he didn't take the radiator with it, so that's good. Still just about 20 more minutes. This is still far from over. Should be right at about the 3-hour and 10-minute mark once they make their way through for the completion of lap number 6, where Ricky Towery going to be holding a checkered flag in hand. Continuing to watch here from the mile 6, looking for that man, Stu Baylor.
Stu Baylor still looking very strong here late in this one. Doesn't really seeming to be showing any effects. Whoa. A little bit squirrely, but that's Baylor style. 1 foot off, just grab that right hand grip and twist it. Keep moving forward. It's the way to win these races, and Baylor doing the best job of it here today. Looking strong late into this one. 2 hours and 52 minutes. The clock has just turned with about almost 20 minutes left. 19 minutes is what the projected time is for the leader being due in. And here is Craig DeLong. Last check we had about 29 seconds behind in the number 2 spot, and would be, I believe, the best ride he's had so far here. Does have a podium, 1 podium at round number 5 in Kentucky, finishing 3rd, and then 4th at our last round. So 2nd here today would be the best ride of 2026 for Craig DeLong and that Rockstar Racing Husqvarna team. He's able to hold on to that position here. Should be waiting and watching for the battle over the final podium position. Caleb Russell in 3rd, Liam Draper in 4th, separated by what looked to be just a few bike lengths.
Yeah, and I heard word, didn't get to see it myself, but a little bit of a new look for Craig DeLong, potentially adding some horsepower. So maybe we'll get to see that post-race as the Am-Pro duo comes through. Caleb Russell still just out in front of Liam Draper.
So just when it looked like Draper was struggling and had lost some pace, giving up that position to Russell and immediately losing some ground, he's closed the gap back up and continuing to keep himself in the fight for those bonus points in 3rd place, knowing there's a championship potentially looming on the line, well ahead of Jordan Ashburn on track, and also ahead of Ben Kelly, who sits in that number 3 spot in the overall points as they run. Kelly sitting in 7th overall. Looking at the gaps, looks like Kelly is about 56 seconds behind Josh Strang.
Shout out to Jigs Trustini. Looks like has retaken that top amateur position, sitting in the number 12 ride.
Yeah, about 8 seconds is what he holds as a margin over Cooper Jones, leading the way in that 250A class, 2nd place overall amateur, and then Colton Shields, Hunter Smith, 3rd in that 250A class, 11 seconds behind Jones. So that one not over either. The battle for the win in that 250A class between Hunter Smith and Cooper Jones coming down to the final lap of racing.
All of them guys been off to a good season. Hunter Smith, he's been coming alive aboard that Husqvarna machine. Off to a good season here in 2026 on that newly formed Racecraft Husqvarna machine.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look at the backside of the top 20, there's more of our amateur riders, and it looks like XC2. Smith, Shields, Jenkins, Whitmer, Amancio. Both of the Whitmers, Cole and Lane.
Cole out of Open A class.
Yep.
Brother Lane out of the 250A class, sitting in the 4th place spot in that Open A class. 5th place spot in that Open A class. There is your XC2 leader on screen. Gus Reardon leading the last several laps after wrestling the lead away from Jack Walker, who has departed the race. Did we get word if that was a crash or if it was
I believe it was a breakdown is what I was told.
Here's the battle for the final podium position. Caleb Russell has the position, and Liam Draper just behind him there in the number 4 spot. This one coming down to the final miles.
Caleb has it. Liam wants it. The question is, can Liam Draper be able to get himself back ahead of his teammate there aboard the Ampro Yamaha? He's going to have a tough task, a tall task there with Caleb Russell just ahead of him, the most winning GNCC rider of all time. You know he's going to be able to ride a wide bike if he feels the need. Starting to close up just a bit now.
Fitness and grit, so important here late in these races. This one going to go about 3 hours and 10 minutes, the projected finish time. Warm day here in southern Ohio, upwards of 80 degrees, a lot of dust kicking up, and these guys are down to the final fuel they have left in their bodies' tanks, and they are leaving it all out on the course, guys.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, just about 2 hours and 57 minutes into a 3 hour plus long race. Stu Baylor retaking that number 1 ride and is trying to ride off into the sunset here in Ohio. But it is Craig DeLong trying to chase him down. Still not out of this at all. And then, of course, the Ampro duo of Caleb Russell and Liam Draper trying to chase him down as well. How is this XC1 Pro podium going to shake out? We'll find out when we come back with more racing live here on RacerTV.com.
When I came here to the ranch, like right when you roll through the gates, everyone kind of says you feel the same thing. This is such a special place.
I love coming to Loretta's. This is my family, right? Really special for me, so a lot of good memories.
Love coming here to Loretta's.
Hey race fans! Gear Bicycles is on hand today with the all-new Gen 4 Specialized Levo. They also have great deals on Gen 3 Levos and used bikes. Stop by their booth and see for yourself how fun it could be riding around these GNCC hills. Gear Bicycles is sponsored by Progressive. When you stop by their booth, you can find out why it's important to insure your e-bike, dirt bike, ATV, or RV. Once again, thanks for being here today, and enjoy your day.
We've been there since the very beginning.
20 left, the main event.
organizing the industry, and building champions. "100 years of defending your rights to ride into the future."
Community, family, teamwork. It's what we have stood on for over a decade. Hauling might be what we do at the surface, but it's much deeper than that, because what you need matters. When you need a haul, give us a call at 724-852-4488. For 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year, we at JD Enterprises are prepared to serve you.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back here to round 7 in St. Clairsville, Ohio, the Kenda Tires Powerline Park GNCC. And right now trying to write some history here today. There you see Ricky Towery still got a white flag in hand, but closing in on what will be a checkered flag here for round 7. And Stu Baylor trying to make a statement here and take this win here as we hang at the 10-mile mark, waiting on our leaders. Craig DeLong trying to chase him down, and then, of course, the Ampro Yamahas of Liam Draper and Caleb Russell, as Russell has moved his way into the number 3 spot, and no doubt about it, that's the man right there, Stu Baylor.
No slowing down for Baylor. He is on an absolute charge. You got to believe he's gotten pit boards that he is upwards or nearing 30 seconds lead, and he is still pushing the pace, leaving nothing to question, making sure that he keeps himself in position to grab the win here today, which would be his second of 2026, putting himself in the conversation for can he ride himself back into this championship battle. And is that? Nope, not DeLong.
Now over 3 hours of racing in the books. 3 hours of racing in the books, and Stu Baylor still hop-skipping his way through the course here at the mile 10 marker. Under 10 minutes left to go here in this one.
There you see DeLong making his way through. One of the team members standing right there. As now we wait on the Ampro duo. Man, actually really surprised to see how much they have stretched things out here late in this one. Past the 3-hour mark, folks. So like we said, 3 hours and roughly 10 minutes we expect this to be when the checker flag comes out. So we're going to find out who ate the Wheaties here today. Leading into it, there is Caleb Russell, and right behind him, Liam Draper. As you see, more water getting thrown onto the back of Russell. That one might have hit the bike a little more than the man.
Yeah, that section was pretty fast through there, but trying to get some water on Russell to keep him cooled down.
And yeah, like we mentioned, a huge shout out to all of our amateur riders. The battle for top amateur rages on as they take over the backside of the top 20. Jix Fustini in that number 12 spot. Cooper Jones in 13. Hunter Smith, Colton Shields, James Jenkins, Cole Whitmer, Ryan Amancio, and Lane Whitmer rounding out your top 20, with only 3 of the XC2 class sitting in the top 20 OA right now, Johnny.
Yeah, that XC2 class is pretty beat up, between riders having mechanical issues and injuries, and a lot of riders dropping out throughout the day today. Only 3 inside the top 20, and the amateur riders are showing up in force with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inside the top 20. That might be the most I've ever seen, that at least that I can recall.
So the kids showing up and showing out here at round 7. Meanwhile, back up front, Stu Baylor on approach. And even in that last section, I like what Jackson said. We're seeing a techie Stu Baylor right now, having fun, hitting these little floater jumps, kind of just floating his way around this Ohio course. It's not very often you see what looks to be a light Stu Baylor on the bike. Normally he's kind of freight train and bulldogging that thing through and almost making the earth move out of his way. This time, Stu finding a flow right now and kind of skipping his way around this course. You see it right here.
And absolutely charging through this section this late into this one, showing the fitness. 3 hours, 4 minutes with about 6 minutes remaining. Getting very close to that 3-hour 10 mark is what we were projecting a few laps ago. Feeling like the projection's about spot on. So here in the heat today, taking its toll on a lot of riders, but Stu Baylor looking strong late here on the final lap of racing.
Yeah, Stu Baylor, he's had his jokes. He's talked about losing weight. He's talked about gaining weight, but there's never really been any question as far as his race conditioning goes, what kind of shape he's in, and not to mention how deep he's willing to dig to get the most out of himself. As far as mental strength goes, Stu, obviously one of the top up there. You think about a Johnny Gerard, a Caleb Russell. These are names that we know are willing to go the distance. I put Ben Kelly in that mix as well, but Stu not going to want to hand this one over here today.
No, absolutely, and I think he's in position now as we see Craig DeLong working his way past at the 11-mile marker. It really is his race to lose. If he just hits his marks through the final miles of racing, doesn't look like anybody going to be able to reel him in. Craig DeLong sitting back there upwards of 30 seconds behind, still charging, still keeping himself in the mix. Were there a miscue or a run-in with a lapped rider, anything could happen still. But right now, Baylor has stretched it out to the point where it's looking like an insurmountable lead with just about 2 miles of racetrack remaining. The battle on track still is between the 557 of Russell and the 198 of Draper. Looks like in this section, Russell has opened it up just a few bike lengths, but Draper still giving chase. We mentioned it earlier, Draper very much in the thick of this championship points battle, sitting in that number 2 spot, knowing he needs every point available to try to close the gap on Jordan Ashburn, who is currently running in the 11th place overall position. See Stu Baylor motioning to look like some of our course workers out there having fun on the dirt bike despite some very, very tough conditions here today. Stu Baylor putting on an absolute clinic.
Yeah, and you see him floating to those outsides and then cutting back underneath time and time again. He knows what is working for his machine right now. And no reason to fight it, as it has been working perfectly for him so far. Yes, here we go. Stu Baylor on approach. So Stu Baylor on your Yamaha Racing live drone, carving his way through the trees for the final few miles of racing here at the Kenda Powerline Park GNCC.
Zach, we mentioned it off the air, but I got to be honest with you, Jackson said as well, feeling the effects even here in the Racer TV trailer of the heat. Absolute hot box in here. I think it's 125 degrees, but imagine being out there on track. These riders, high heart rates, very, very heavy effort that they're putting out, and all these riders, even if whether it's battling for an overall podium position or fighting it out in one of the A or B classes, you know, this is a warm day here, and really one of the warmest days we've had so far in 2026. I know it's only, whatever it is, low to mid 80s, but with the sun shining and as rough as this race course is, these riders are really having to dig deep late in this one, but no one is digging deeper than this guy right now. Stu Baylor continuing to push the pace, not looking like he's feeling the effects of the heat. The long race, he is just still on rails out there. You can see him squaring up those corners, hitting all his marks, and significantly faster than all of the other riders on track right now. Stu Baylor on that 514 machine, hopping and charging his way through these final sections of racetrack as he works his way ever so close to the checkered flag waving and win number 2 on 2026. Stu Baylor looking phenomenal.
Here we go. We wanted to see the response from Stu Baylor, and we've got it as Baylor puts himself in good position early, shows he's willing to fight the distance. And we'll see those Red Bear tents getting the final cheers there from the team, as now it gets down to the final stretch of course here for Stu Baylor.
Can see just how much this course has dried out during the course of the race today. We had some rain yesterday, making it very slick. We saw mud flying through these sections of racetrack just yesterday, and now dust everywhere. The berms are piled up with dust and rocks from this dry Southern Ohio clay. But Stu Baylor hitting all his marks and charging towards the finish line.
Well, and Stu doing such a great job. You see him not trying to force that Cowie to stay on those insides. He's letting it push wide. He doesn't have to protect anything. Nobody immediately behind him. So Stu doing exactly what he needs to do to bring this thing across the line and grab his second win of the season.
You can see Stu, one of the few riders still wearing the traditional camelback on his back. A lot of riders shy away from that in the heat because it does tend to kind of trap heat in there as well. And a lot of riders going with the waist hydration. Some riders going no hydration pack at all, just picking up bottles along the way from their crew. But Stu Baylor, old school, and I don't know if he still does it, but he used to actually run the hydration hose in through his helmet. I believe he still does. And then he can actually just reach up either with his arm and just push it a little bit, or I believe he can actually catch it with his mouth and just pull that little hydration device into his mouth and get himself some hydration as the race goes on. So hydration on demand for Stu Baylor, paying off here today, leading the way late in this one and coming to the final stages. Just a few corners remaining for the 514 Red Bear Rocky Mountain ATV MC Kawasaki of Stu Baylor, looking to grab his second win of 2026, looking to score maximum points, 30 points. We're referencing out of the championship fight, but mathematically still in it and getting a little bit closer to being in it here today. May even move up a few spots in the overall points with the win here today. Stu Baylor, just a few corners remaining, Zach. Looks like he's going to get the job done.
How about it? Was frustrated at round 6, but makes a statement here at round 7. Stu Baylor going to get the job done and mark himself as the second two-time winner of the 2026 season. And how about that? Not even so much as a rev across the finish line from Stu Baylor.
Stu looked great those final laps, but I got to say, I think all these guys are feeling the effects of the heat, feeling the effects of a long 3-hour and 10-minute race. Looking like the finish time, as Stu now checked in, 3 hours, 11 minutes, and 12 seconds. And there you see that hydration hose hanging. Baylor definitely looking strong, but you can tell the heat, the dust, the rough track, a factor here today for sure, but nobody managed it better than this man. Stu Baylor grabbing his second win of 2026, and you can see the smile on his face now. It's setting in. He got the job done.
Yeah, that's a smirk right there. Only Stu can pull off, fired up after getting the job done here at this one, and certainly excited to hear those post-race interviews coming up here in just a moment. Meanwhile, how about it? Grabbed a third earlier this season, now steps it up one spot and grabs second here today out of your XC1 class, Craig DeLong.
Craig DeLong across the line in second, and another rider sitting fourth in the points coming into the day today. And look at this. This is the battle coming to the finish line, wheel to wheel between Draper and Russell. Looks like it is still Russell in the number 3 spot. Draper trying to square him up, trying to see if he can make a move, but letting the back end get loose there. Caleb Russell crosses the line in third. His teammate Liam Draper just behind him in the number 4 spot in the overall positions. We'll have to wait until Gus Reardon checks in, but I believe that will be enough to cement those overall positions, as Reardon had lost some time in the last couple laps of racing here.
Ooh, so how about it? A fight all the way down to the checkers for that final podium spot, as now we'll wait and see. Should be Gus Reardon grabbing the win out of your XC2 class.
Zach, listen to this. 58 seconds was the gap Stu Baylor pulled over the final 2 laps. Keep thinking back to that. Craig DeLong was basically on his rear wheels when they got that 2-lap card, pulling out near 1 minute, 58.6 seconds in the final 2 laps of racing. Stu Baylor dug deep, and it paid off big today with a win.
Well, and on top of that, we saw him for at least the last half a lap or so, and he looked like he was cruising, right? Really finding a way to work with this course, and working with it right now is Gus Reardon, the Phoenix Racing Honda rider, on your screen right now, and trying to bring it home for an XC2 win. Going to work his way around some lap traffic here.
And he is still fighting, I believe, both Russell and Draper. He's quite a bit further back on the racetrack. I think they've done enough. I don't believe he'll be able to eclipse them for the overall, but Josh Strang was pushing a really good pace and only 28 seconds behind. So in the overall battle, he's battling fellow countryman Josh Strang from Australia there, taking a look over his shoulder. Strang is ahead of him on track, but just how far, we'll find out when they check in. Will Strang be able to do enough to grab that 5th place spot overall, or will it go to our XC2 winner, Gus Reardon?
Oh, going to be fun to watch. Jackson Burrow getting things set up with our top 3 out of XC1. We'll get those interviews here in just a moment.
Looks like Strang has not yet checked in with 6 laps complete. It is still Draper, the last rider, checked in that 4th place spot. Oh, Strang has now checked in.
And going to hang here and watch Gus Reardon make his way to the finish, grab this XC2 win. And there it is. Tough day for Wachowski. Tough day for Ashburn, but a positive note there at the Phoenix Honda crew as Gus Reardon sticks it atop the XC2 class with 1 more corner to go.
2nd win of 2026. Big strides in the championship battle. Gus Reardon, you can see the fist pump punch of celebration. Gus Reardon gets the job done, his 2nd win of 2026, and putting himself back in the discussion for that 2026 XC2 championship points battle.
I'm assuming Jackson probably standing there telling him, don't leave. We want to try to interview you. We'll see whether he takes our advice or not, but
you're exactly right.
I knew it, Jay. I knew it. I appreciate you doing it. Those XC2 riders, they like to sneak off on us.
I told Mom, so I think we're good.
Okay, we're locked in. Well, meanwhile, Jackson standing by with now a very happy Stu Baylor. He was grumpy when I talked to him. Jackson, maybe he'll be a little happier with you.
Yeah, I think he's going to be happy today. I'm standing by with him. Stu Baylor, you were able to get the win. Big way. Take us through it.
Yeah, obviously, after the last race, I don't write the rule book, but today I wrote the book. And, yeah, I felt good. Good track. Everything was solid. Yeah, we paced ourselves. Had a good start. Dove down on the end. Bike doesn't fire very fast with the other guys, so I've got a little inside line pocket that I picked out and able to cut under those guys and at least be in the mix of things. So yeah, trying to do what we can, and yeah, got up front early. Just tried to find my flow, and I noticed that Craig was going pretty fast. So he got on me, I want to say lap 3 over here, started putting some pressure, so I waved him by going down one of the hills. I knew he had some fast lines, so followed those guys for a lap, and yeah, I was able to pick apart some of the track where they were going fast, and once I kind of caught my groove again, I think they dropped 10 or 12 on me, and I was able to pick them back off pretty quick there on lap 4, and yeah, from there just smooth sailing, shifting up a gear and kind of riding. Craig was easy to latch on to and showed me the fast lines today. So hats off to him. He rode great. It was fun with those guys, Liam them, but. Yeah, shout out to the whole Rocky Mountain Kawasaki team, Pirelli tires, Environmental Golf, Redline Oil, Achurbis Plastics, ASV Levers, SOS, Safety on Site. These guys are awesome, man. They take care of so many people throughout the weekend. Sunoco Race Fuels, Yoshimura, Big E, all those guys over there. Shoei Helmets, Insta360, CD Boots. My wife, my family, the whole team, everybody that does so much for us, man. The list goes on, and yeah, I can't thank these guys enough.
Stu, great job out there today. I got one more question for you, man. You were flying out there today. You were looking super technical. You were jumping across, doubling your way through, man. You look great. How you feeling going into the next one? Did the heat play any tricks on you today as well?
No, man, I felt good. Once I got a little bit of breathing room, I was able to, like I say, when I got behind Craig, I just kind of settled down and those two were pushing and battling pretty good, him and Liam, and I could see that they started getting to the point of making mistakes, and I had already kind of taken my breather and paced myself to make that push. But no, the heat wasn't bad. Obviously, coming from South Carolina, man, this is a nice day, so we'll take it. But yeah, the vented gear, the vented MSR today came in clutch. But yeah, I've been working a lot in my cross test training, my grass tracks back at home, and yeah, just trying to put it all together. You know, I feel like everybody's seen it all year. I've been the fastest guy on average every week. We just haven't had the best luck. So, man, we're working hard and doing everything we can. It's good, and we're heading in the right direction.
I got to ask you, are you still thinking about the championship? You're just taking it race by race? I mean, technically, you're still in it if you keep doing what you're doing today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was why I was so frustrated with the last race. You know, that's a 10-point swing. I could have gained 5 instead of lost 5. So, yeah, obviously, it's still the big picture. Man, we pretty much tried to throw it away in those first few races this year. But, hey, I've been riding good, and my mechanics have been great. And, you know, there was just some other things that were going on. But, you know, we should be not just a championship contender. We should have a good points lead if you actually break down where I was when I was. But yeah, it's frustrating, but I'm going to do everything I can. If there's one thing you can count on with me, it's don't count me out. So I can promise that we've worked our asses off to get here.
He did everything he could today. That's your overall winner, Stu Baylor.
All right, well, great to hear there from the 514, and certainly deservingly so of that good mood. This was an impressive ride. We were even saying it off mic, Johnny. He earned this one.
Absolutely. I mean, fought tooth and nail early on in this one, and then late in the race, just had a pace no one else could match, opening up a 58.6-second gap at the finish over Craig DeLong in second. But Stu Baylor saying, hey, we're not out of this thing yet. And mathematically, it's starting to be the case. Yep. You know, he talked about that 10-point swing from last race. Well, today he did exactly what he needed to do. 30 points, closing up the gap, moving himself up in the overall standings, possibly up into the top 5. We'll have to do some quick math. But it was a great day here for Stu and that Red Bear Rocky Mountain ATV MC team. Sounds like our man Jackson Burrell is down at the finish line with today's second-place finisher, Craig DeLong.
Yeah, I'm standing by with Craig right now. The Rockstar Energy Husqvarna was rocking today, Craig. Take us through it, man.
And it was a tough day. I felt good early on. Usually I get arm pump the first lap and a half, but I shook it about towards the end of the first lap, and I started to loosen up and feel good. And I made it felt like a big push to the front, and man, it just felt nice to be able to be up there at front and leading laps. Stu kind of pulled over and let me by, but either way, it was nice to be up front and lead. So once I got to the lead, though, I was like, man, I might have tried a little bit too hard and kind of blew myself up a little bit and had to take a breather. But, man, it was a tough day. It got hot there at the end, and the track was not rough, but it was technical, and it just took a lot out of you. So I was struggling there at the end, but I kind of gritted out that last lap and just kind of brought her in, man. I was hurting, but nice to get up on the box. I think we had a decent points day, and I think we're kind of creeping ourselves way back in there a little bit. So, man, I'm excited. This is kind of a local race, so it feels good.
No doubt about it. A brutal one today. It is blazing hot out here right now. Craig, you've had back-to-back good races. How are you feeling going into New York in a few weeks?
I'm excited. I grew up in Eastern PA, and I used to race the Iowa Series a lot growing up, so I know what the terrain is up in that area, and I'm excited. So, yeah, just trying to keep this momentum rolling. I feel like I've been riding good. Like I got that hunger back, and yeah, it feels good.
Love to hear it. Keeping the momentum rolling. That's Craig DeLong, second place here today.
I like it. I like the new facial hair. I think it adds horsepower, adds some style, and you add results to the resume with it like that as well. And Craig certainly got something figured out. We talked to him earlier this season when he grabbed that third, and just the confidence boost that it was for him, getting back up on that podium, really feeling that sense of belonging once again. You can tell it meant a lot, and it took a lot as well, as he's clearly pretty depleted.
Yeah, you can see him taking a seat there for that interview, and rightly so. He just laid it all out on the line for 3 hours and 12 minutes of racing for Craig DeLong. Second place on the day, second podium of the season, and it's, man, it's one of those things where you leave everything out there and you're exhausted, but you got to take that opportunity to thank the sponsors, and Craig DeLong joining us, giving us the lowdown on the race, talking about his push to the front and ultimately not being able to match the pace of Stu Baylor.
All right, well, unfortunately, it looks like maybe Caleb not down at the post-race breakdown area, but I do see Jackson standing by with what looks to be our XC2 winner of Gus Reardon. Jackson, down to you.
Yeah, missing the Yamaha boys, but I do have our XC2 winner. Gus Reardon, you got the job done today, man. Take us through it.
Yeah, about time I put another one on the board. I've had a bit of a rough run, but that's no excuses. So yeah, glad to put a solid one on the board. Bit of a sprint earlier on when I caught those XC1 boys, and then, to be honest, I was rooted those last 2 laps. Lucky I had a bit of a good lead and I could just ride my own race, and I think I just kept the gap the same, and yeah, it was a fun day.
How was the Honda machine feeling? An absolute brutal one here today and able to win by over a minute.
Yeah, the red rocket. She's a rocket.
No doubt about it. Well, there you heard it, guys. That's Gus Reardon. He's going to be ready to go here in a few weeks.
So Gus Reardon with the win in that XC2 class. Looks like that one did shake out with Brody Johnson taking the number 2 spot in XC2 and Jason Tino crossing the line in 3rd. Gaps opened up there at the end. Tino 1 minute and 10 seconds behind Johnson, who was 1 minute and 56 seconds behind your race winner in that XC2 class, Gus Reardon. Our overall amateur riders have checked in. Now, we were following that battle, but a late race charge for Hunter Smith up to 12th place overall, winning 258 and top overall amateur ahead of Jake Spastini and Colton Shields.
How about it? So checker flag waves as we take a look at our specialized race recap here from round number 7. Of course, bar banging action. The injured, we say in quotes, Ben Kelly, we know a little banged up. Starting things off exactly the way he was hoping. Jordan Ashburn getting a good start, as well as Stu Baylor. But Baylor went to work early. You could tell he wanted to get up front and wanted to try to control this thing from the top of the board. Was able to do just that. You see him make the pass on Ben Kelly early on. And then after that, we had some hopping around inside the top 5, Johnny. A couple of the Yamaha boys moving forward. We saw some of our Phoenix boys moving backwards. Big shakeups towards that mid part of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the first pass for the lead from Stu Baylor. But then this rider, the 342 of Craig DeLong, able to get up to the rear wheel of Baylor, putting the pressure on. Baylor actually waving him around in that section. Liam Draper in the fight. Then it came time for pit stops. We did see a little fumble with the goggles. Craig DeLong losing a little bit of time. Liam Draper in and out of the pits, and this is where the running order did change. Liam Draper making the pass on Stu Baylor up to the number 2 spot. Baylor dropping back to 3rd, and Zach momentarily losing the pace, falling off the back. He said about 10-12 seconds from the leaders, but he put in a charge, closed up the gap. But for about a lap there, it really looked to be a battle between DeLong and also Liam Draper over the win, and then Baylor charges back, grabs the lead back, and then it became the Stu Baylor show, the final 2 laps.
Yeah, with Stu Baylor, once he retook that lead, he talked about finding the flow, finding a way to get this track to work with him and not having to make it work for him. The Kawasaki just seemed to be floated. We saw him doing these little hip jumps, little moto-style things where Stu normally trying to just move the earth from around him. It is really impressive to see the way he was able to handle the front of the field. Meanwhile, Caleb Russell starts to creep his way forward. There's another one of those perfect examples. Quick little techie line that was giving Stu Baylor a 10th here, a 10th there.
Yeah, Stu Baylor was on a charge the final 2 laps, opening up 58 seconds, grabbing the win here today. But the final lap was a battle between these two over the final podium position, with Caleb Russell coming out in 3rd, Liam Draper in 4th. When it came right down to it, last lap, Stu Baylor all alone out front, near a minute margin of victory through the final corner. Stu Baylor making a statement here today at the Kenda Powerline Park GNCC, grabbing his 2nd win of 2026 and throwing himself back into the conversation. Not exactly in the mix, but he's trending that direction for this 2026 title.
Like we said, Stu Baylor, when he keeps it simple, that's when he's his most dangerous, and kept it simple, just wanted to grab a win here today. Meanwhile, Craig DeLong, you see how much it took out of the Husky rider to get the job done, and then the Ampro boys taking it down to the wire with Caleb Russell just edging out his teammate for that final spot on the podium. Gus Reardon fired up after grabbing another XC2 win here today as well for the Phoenix Racing Honda crew. We take a look at your Rocky Mountain ATV-MC top 10. It looks like this. It's Stu Baylor, Craig DeLong, and Caleb Russell, your XC1 and overall podium. Liam Draper and Gus Reardon, 4 and 5, with Josh Strang, Grant Baylor, Ben Kelly, Brody Johnson, and Jordan Ashburn rounding out your top 10. So some names in spots we probably didn't quite expect to see them here on this one, Johnny.
Yeah, absolutely. Ben Kelly in 8th, Jordan Ashburn in 10th. Those are 2 riders inside the top 3 in the overall points battle, but a big day for Liam Draper in 4th, making up some points, sitting there just behind we'll have to do some math, but he's not too far behind Jordan Ashburn. Jordan Ashburn will maintain the points lead, actually picking up a position late in the race. He was in 11th, getting up to 10th on that final lap of racing. So those points may come in handy at the end of the season.
No doubt about it. Every point counts for sure. Unfortunately, not going to be able to catch up with Caleb Russell after the race. Bummer. Looks like he went back to the Ampro pits. But, Johnny, we've got – wait a second.
Hey.
Hang on. It sounds like we may actually have Jackson Burrow. We snuck away and grabbed him. Caleb Russell standing by with Jackson Burrow.
Sure is. Caleb, you worked too hard not to get to talk to you on that one, man. Take us through it. Third place on the day.
Yeah, I had to go cool down. I'm not much into cooling down right here in front of everybody. Man, it was brutal. I knew after lap 2 that I was like, man, this is going to be a war of attrition. And I got such a bad start again. My bike didn't fire and had to fight my way through and just couldn't get into position. I would like to be up there with Stu and those guys, make my life a little bit easier because, yeah, I was just having to expend a little too much energy to try to, bridge that gap. And it was brutal out there. It was deceivingly rough and really just beat the piss out of your body. Your arms, my wrists and fingers are pretty shot right now. It was brutal out there, but I'm happy to land back on the podium. All in all, it was a good day. We fought hard and, yeah, just chipping away, man. We got to get a start.
Fought down to the bitter end. Over 3 hours you fought for it. How you feel going into New York after this? Are you healthy? Is everything feeling good?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really solid right now, and just hope to keep it on 2 wheels and pull out some starts, man. That's what it's all about. But I got to give a shout out to the whole team. I came up here to Ohio this week, and Ryan B&R helped me out. We tuned on this bike and got it running a little bit better. Obviously, I've kind of botched the start. I think that was on me. I gave it a little gas, but it's so finicky, and it's like, man, that the jitters got me. But yeah, Moose Racing, Scott Goggles, Alpine, or Moose Racing, CD Boots, Scott Goggles, Shoei, my wife, my kids, Sport Fisher Energy, all the fans out there. Thank you.
There it is, guys. Caleb Russell, 3rd place here today.
All right, so glad we were able to grab that interview here, Johnny. So now that we've actually kind of gotten to break things down from our top XC1 riders and our XC2 winner, what's the takeaways? What are we thinking here after round 7?
Man, my takeaways are count Stu Baylor out, and he'll start proving you wrong. Obviously, we've seen in the last 2 rounds, not that we didn't think he was capable of race wins, but with those miscues and mechanicals earlier in the season, the points gap was just looking pretty ominous.
Yep.
Now he's fighting his way back into it. So Stu Baylor in the mix, but a great day for Liam Draper and the points closing up the gap significantly. And my takeaway is the more things change, the more they stay the same. It's a battle at the front of XC1 and for this overall championship, and it looks like it's going to go the distance here in 2026.
No doubt about it. My big takeaway, bad days. Everybody seems to have one. We've seen Ben Kelly. We've seen Grant Davis. Jordan Ashburn having a day. I'm sure he would probably like to forget all in all, though, saving it with a top 10 finish, maintaining that points lead. It just takes somebody like Stu Baylor to count that, right? All these guys having bad days. Let me just stack some good days. So anything wide open in the points as far as XC1 and XC2.
Absolutely, and back-to-back podiums for Caleb Russell. That's a bit of a storyline as well coming through the pack. And shamelessly, I have to give a shout-out, B&R Motorsports, an ATV company, getting involved with Caleb's program, working on some motor packages and also some tuning, saying the bike is really starting to feel great for him, loving that machine. So the crossover between 2 and 4 wheels here on Racer TV and in GNCC, it goes back years, and it's showing its head again.
We said it. It's a family, whether it's the group we talked to on Saturday or the group right here on Sunday. It is one big GNCC Racing Nation. Well, that is round 7. That is the Kenda Tires Powerline Park GNCC. What an incredible weekend. But that is far from all that we have here on RacerTV.com. Upcoming broadcast, we're kicking off the 2026 Bagger Racing League season next weekend, May 23rd. It's going to be Saturday and Sunday from Hastings, Nebraska, rounds 1 and 2. Make sure you guys are tuned in for that. And then we're back GNCC Racing at a brand new location out in New York at Watkins Glen. That's going to be Saturday at 1:30 p.m. and Sunday at 12:30 p.m. We'll be going live ATVs on Saturday and bikes on Sunday. You don't want to miss it, especially a brand new location. Everybody going to want to be checking that out. Once again, it takes so many people to be able to put this on, from the incredible crew here on site to the incredible crew here at Racer TV that gives you guys the opportunity
to view things from home, work, school, wherever you're watching from. And we owe them all a big thank you. Of course, starting off with our executive producer, Carrie Jo Russell, OPAG, our producer, Adam Gordon, our director, Don Hampton, our replay operator, Cameron Cotter, our engineer in charge, Jordan McFadden, as well as our second engineer, Jack Renner, our manager, Dan Reinhardt, and our official spotter, David Hollywood Kripe, all of our incredible camera operators, Jack Renner, Adam Atkins, Josh Hefner, Adam Arndt, Dave Kelsch, Dylan Adkins, John Carpenter, and Mike Nichols, our moto filmer out and about, Brian Risch, as well as our eyes in the sky, our drone pilot, Gabe Scholl. For Jackson Burrell and Johnny Gallagher, I'm Zach Herron. We'll see you guys next time right here on Racer TV.